On the night of her engagement, Bella Hadid thought her life was about to begin. A 5-star hotel, a powerful family alliance, and the man she loved waiting upstairs. But one wrong elevator button, one wrong room, and one mysterious stranger changes everything. By morning, her fiancé has publicly abandoned her. Her family has turned against her, and the world believes she's a traitor. But Bella knows the truth. She was set up, now with nothing left to lose. She's about to uncover a betrayal far deeper than she ever imagined. A 5-star hotel in city was packed with famous people. Tonight was the engagement ceremony of Zayn, the son of Ali Enterprises, and Bella Hadid, the second daughter of Hadid family. "Zayn, which room are you in?" Before the wedding ceremony began, Bella felt dizzy and then left the banquet hall to pick up the phone. 8607. In the phone, Zayn's voice sounded cold, as if he had suppressed his feelings and love for her in the past. "Kate said you want to give me a surprise before our wedding." Bella's lovely dimples showed up on her blushing face. "Are you thinking to make me yours? But for the first time, I'd like to keep it until we get married. We've been waiting for 2 years already, after all." "I'm not joking with you. Come up quickly." Zayn hung up the phone. He couldn't wait to have her all ready. Bella blinked her eyes and thought, "I am only 19, will it be?" It doesn't matter, right? He will soon be my fiancé. She still loves Zayn very much. Bella staggered along the corridor of the hotel. Her delicate and beautiful little face blushed because of tipsiness. She was wearing a short champagne-colored Chanel dress, which showed her curvy figure. She was charming and lovely. "It's strange. I didn't drink much." She patted her forehead and her vision gradually blurred. In the banquet hall, she didn't intend to drink at all. But just now, Mrs. Hadid insisted that she should have a drink with her guests and some prominent people. Walking into the elevator, Bella pressed the button for the 6th floor while feeling dizzy, but she did not expect to have accidentally pressed the 8th floor button. The 8th floor of the hotel is the floor for the VIPs. Once leaving the lift, Bella went straight to the room Zayn said he was in. Yet she couldn't tell 8 and 6 apart clearly. In front of room 8807, she knocked. "Come in." A sexy and charming man's voice came from inside. His voice was strong enough to tempt her. Bella pushed the door open and walked in, laughing in a daze. "Zayn, when did your voice become so deep? It's just like you have a bass put in your voice." The room was not lit, but one could still vaguely see the luxurious furniture of the house, as well as the king-sized bed. It was a presidential suite. There was a strong man's perfume, scent in the room. "Zayn," she moved forwards while leaning over the wall. Then she collapsed on the big, comfortable bed and asked, "Where are you?" She felt a sudden heat that made her uncomfortable. Bella tugged at her clothes. The sound of running water came from the bathroom. A while later, a tall figure came out. In the dim light, the man was wearing a bathrobe. The muscle on the bare chest is vaguely showing with the water drops slipped down from his chest. He was a breathtakingly handsome man. In the dark, the man looked at the Bella with his brown eyes, and his voice was beautiful and magnetic. "Who are you?" "Hot." Bella's tender lips were slightly opened. "I want to take off my clothes." After the glass of wine that her foster mother gave her, her whole body felt like it was heating up, and now her consciousness was getting more and more unclear. The man tossed the towel that was used to wipe his hair aside and pulled her arm. "Get up! You're in the wrong room." "Zayn, I thought you want me." Bella wrapped her arms around the man's neck and chuckled. "I'm here. You have to be responsible for me." Bella pulled him down, and he quickly held one arm out to support himself, yet he was still almost on top of her. The light scent of wine wafted into his nose, along with a sweet taste of a young woman. Bella only felt that she had a person in her arms and smelled the pure and charming scent of shower gel on him. Suddenly, her throat became a little dry, and her body became hotter and more uncomfortable. "I'm suffering. Give it to me." Bella rubbed her face on his body comfortably. The coldness on his chest was easing the heat inside her body. She happily closed her eyes and prepared to give herself to Zayn before their wedding. The man almost rested his body on top of her was having a woman clinging on him like a kitten. He had just taken a shower, and he was slowly getting turned on he had been suppressing his desire needs for too long. His strong self-control began to slowly collapse under the woman's initiative invitation. This woman was simply a prey that came to him. He endured it and made a phone call to his secretary. "There's no need to send the meeting files here. I'll go straight to office tomorrow." In this dark presidential suite, the man hung up the phone and leaned over on Bella's soft body. "Woman, that's what you asked for," he whispered to her ear. "Don't regret it." Right after that, he kissed her lips, and every piece of clothes on Bella's body was removed. That night, he had her for the entire night. The next day, the room was full of traces, showed the wildness that happened the night before. "Aye." Bella frowned, and her small mouth moved a little. Then she went back to sleep. The CEO of the Emperor, weakened, looked at the woman on the bed. She was sleeping like a child, tightly holding the quilt wrapped around her chest. Her snow-white shoulders and delicate little face were breathtakingly beautiful under the morning sun. The skin on her neck and shoulders was as white as snow, was now covered with all kinds of hickeys. It almost showed how crazy the night was. Weekend just came back from abroad yesterday. As with the jet lag problem, he planned to stay at this hotel for a night. He even asked his secretary to bring in some meeting files, but he didn't expect this clumsy woman to walk into his room. He was a man with strong self-control, but this woman completely ruined that with all that flirting she did. Now he saw her clearly under the daylight. This woman looked surprisingly pure, with shoulder-lengthened short curly hair and long eyelashes. She was lovely yet playful. Looking at Bella on the bed, Weekend looked over her bag and found her ID. Bella had it. "I'll be in the office in half an hour." He made a phone call. "Find out a woman named Bella Hadid and offer her some money. Don't mention me to her." This was a compensation for spending a night with him. After all, he was very happy with this woman last night. After giving instructions to the secretary, Travis lifted Summer up and took out the suit jacket underneath her. "Zayn," Bella mumbled. Weekend stopped his movement for a moment. "Zayn." He looked at Bella, whose eyelashes were flapping slightly, and saw a light red butterfly birthmark on her snow-white skin behind her shoulder. With a little deep thought, he left the room. A platinum lion head tie clip was left on the bed without him noticing. It was engraved with the abbreviation of his name, Weekend. Ouch. After waking up, Bella felt sore and pain on her whole body, as if she got hit by a big truck all night. She looked down and saw the hickeys all over her body. She immediately thought about the engagement ceremony, which was supposed to happen yesterday, along with Zayn's call, and what happened to the engagement? Bella rushed out of bed to wear clothes. Damn, what happened to the engagement? With too much strength, she fell on the carpet when she got out from the bed. Damn. She screamed with pain. She looked up and found that she was in a luxurious presidential suite, which was extremely gorgeous. There seemed to still have the pleasant scent from last night and the smell of a man in the air. She still vaguely remembered the craziness happened yesterday, but she couldn't remember it very clearly. She only remembered that she responded to Zayn's unstoppable needs. Zayn, thinking of this, Bella immediately called out and scanned the environment of the surrounding hotels. However, Zayn was not in the room. She was the only one in the room. While wondering what happened, her cell phone rang. It was Alfred, the helper of her family. "Hello, Alfred. How was my wedding with Zayn last night? What happened later?" Bella asked anxiously. She had too many questions, such as why she was here alone. "Miss Bella, your phone finally got through. Please don't come home. You didn't come back since you left the hall yesterday. Now Zayn is going to break off the engagement. He and Kate." What? Bella did not understand the situation at all. Yesterday, it was Zayn who asked me to leave. What happened to him and Kate? "Miss Bella, you'd better watch TV by yourself. In short, don't come home now. Your dad is mad." After Bella putting down the phone, There was only one sentence in her mind. Zayn is going to break off the engagement. Why? Didn't he ask her to come to this room yesterday? Bella dragging her sore body to turn on the TV. The Zayn family was one of the top real estate companies in the country. The TV showed a press conference held by the Zayn. Zayn is here announced to the media that the engagement with Bella Hadid, the second daughter of Hadid family, has been cancelled. The charming man said in the press conference. After Bella left for the wedding yesterday, she was with a man all night. This kind of cheating and improper woman has nothing to do with me from now on. Kate Hadid, the eldest daughter of the Hadid family, stood next to Zayn. The reporter asked the beautiful woman standing next to him, "Then may I ask Miss Hadid, will the Hadid family give the Zayn family an explanation for the affair of Miss Bella?" "This is a personal problem for Bella. It has nothing to do with our family." Kate stood very close to Zayn. She was as beautiful as snow. With a polite smile, she said to the reporter, "Although Bella is the adopted daughter of our family, she has been living outside all along. Hence, we can't interfere much with her daily life. However, the shares Bella has been taken back, and my father is also very disappointed with her behavior. We may break off all relations with her." Watching the press conference on TV, Bella was shocked. Zayn accused her for cheating before marriage, and the Hadid are taking back her shares. Thinking of the glass of wine that Mrs. Hadid gave her last night, the document that Kate took for her to sign when she was drunk, was it the document she used to transfer the shares under her name? After realizing what had happened last night, Bella called Zayn with her trembling hands. "What else do you have to say?" Zayn sounded distant. The warmth and love in the past no longer existed. "Zayn, what do you mean?" Bella said. "What do you mean I had an affair on my engagement last night? You were the one who asked me to." "Room 8607, he said. "But where have you been?" "What?" "Bella Hadid, you are more despicable than I thought," he said coldly. "I called you last night, and it was a man who answered it. You refused me 1,000,000 times, and turns out you want a man more than anyone else in the world. You are the worst. It seems that the rumor between you and the twin brothers in the Hadid family is true." Hearing the sarcasm and humiliation from Zayn, Bella wrapped herself in a bath towel and rushed out to the front door. When she opened the door, she found on the gilded door card on the door, it read, 8807. "No, I didn't mean it. I drank too much yesterday and went in the wrong." Bella shook her head desperately. "I don't know what happened either." "There's no need to quibble anymore. It couldn't be better in this case," Zayn said. "Actually, I wanted to tell you last night. I don't want to engage with you at all. The person I loved was Kate, and she is the one that I wanted to marry. I asked you out only because I mistook you as Kate." "Zayn, what? What did you say?" Bella clenched her fists and said angrily with her hands shaking, "You and Kate Hadid, you two." Zayn smiled. "We've been together for a long time." "You disgusting couple." 3 words popped up in her mind. "Bella Hadid, except for that beautiful face, you are not even comparable with Kate. You are so arrogant at home as your foster dad. Mohammed Hadid loves you so much. Do you really think that I will like you?" Zayn sneered and kept teasing her. "I stayed with you, mainly to let Mohammed Hadid agree in letting the company becoming one of the Ali enterprises. All because he loved you, I must stay in a relationship with you. Now since you have cheated on me, he can't blame me. Kate and I don't need to hide anymore. You just wait to be swept out by the Hadid family." Hearing the sudden hanging up the phone from Zayn, Bella's heart trembled, and she felt a chill down her spine. Slowly, she lowered her head. She leaned against the door and sat on the ground, smiling. It turned out that Zayn had always been in love with Kate. Did such a cheesy plot fall on her? He was with her because he wanted to Hadid Limited. So, who was the man last night? Bella realized it suddenly. She dried the tears in her eyes and looked around the room. She stopped when she saw the bed. "Whose tie clip is this?" Bella picked it up and took a closer look. The design was very unique and simple. She sniffed the platinum tie clip, and it had a scent of Armani perfume for men. Outside the hotel, They were already packed with paparazzi who were waiting to take photos of Bella after she left through the safe passage of the hotel. She made a phone call to Alfred. She sat in a coffee shop while looking at the skyscrapers in the distance. City was a prosperous international city. On the electronic screen of the highest international trade building in the city's operating center, a financial interview of the CEO of the Emperor was playing. It was Weekend, the CEO of the top 1 international company in America. This man had achieved today's business miracle by virtue of his unique vision, and frequently caught that Bella, and he had been together in hotels. This is another rumor that says that Weekend is gay. The man in the business meeting was wearing a sharp silver-gray suit and showing 3/4 of his beautiful face. He was showing half of his body, and his thin lips were slightly raised. He exuded the charm of an indifferent noble that made people fall in love with him. At the bottom corner of the screen, there was his name, Weekend, CEO of Emperor. On the other side of the open-air cafe shop, several socialites were also talking about it. I heard that Weekend went to the United States last month to attend a rich chamber of commerce, and today he returned home. He is indeed the most successful entrepreneur. If only I had the chance to meet him, it would be great. It would be difficult for women not to love him. It's really amazing. Bella looked up at the man with a forced smile and a slight sigh. If I met you before I met Zane, maybe I would also fall in love with you. But that kind of man was completely different from her. She was just an adopted daughter of the Hadid family. She was totally different from that eye-catching man. Alfred soon arrived in the driver's car of Hadid family. He got out of the car and hurried over. "Miss Bella, are you all right?" Bella smiled helplessly. "I'm fine. I'm not photographed by the paparazzi." "That's good." Alfred breathed a sigh of relief. "Now all the media in the city are paying attention to the things between you and Zane. It is said that he is still very popular on SNS. He has a lot of female fans. You may be attacked if you encounter paparazzi." Some female fans were terrible. With her cheating on Zane on their engagement, Zane's fans probably hated her so much. Knowing that there would be no good news for her, Bella did not read online news. "I will be careful, Alfred. I called you out to ask about what's going on at home now." This cafe was usually open to celebrities and socialites. At this time, there were not many people. No one had paid attention to Bella. "Alas," Alfred stood there embarrassingly and said, "Miss Bella, I'm sorry. Master refused to let you go home." Does Dad really want to break off the relationship with me? Bella remembered what Kate said at the press conference and smiled. Alfred was embarrassed. "Where did you go last night, Miss Bella?" "Zane asked me to go to him." "What?" "He said it on the phone today." Bella smiled innocently to hide her bleeding heart. "He loves Kate, and it's not me that he wants to marry. Last night, I left the ceremony just to give him a grand reason to break up with me." Alfred was shocked. "Sure enough, Mr. Ali and Miss Hadid." "They set me up." Bella clenched hands trembled slightly. "They drugged me and set me up to leave the ceremony banquet." Bella Hadid felt that she had been bitten by a dog when she found out that even though she was devoted to Zane, he and Kate Hadid had planned to let her have an affair at a wedding. "I drank a glass of wine that Auntie Lily gave me last night, and then my mind was not very clear. I received a phone call from Zane and left." Bella recalled the situation last night. "When I woke up today, Zane said in the press conference that I had an affair before marriage, and Kate said the Hadid family has taken back my shares." "But didn't you personally sign it and give up the shares to Miss Bella, then transfer them to First Miss?" Bella sneered. "That's not true. She told me that the documents from the company had been signed for me when I was unconscious last night." Kate had actually transferred Bella's shares to herself. It was really an amazing skill of White Lotus. In the Hadid family, Uncle Alfred believed in Bella. When he heard this, he broke out in a cold sweat. "Miss Bella, why don't you go back to the Hadid family with me to tell the old master about the situation? It's not a trivial matter." "Is it helpful? Will Dad believe my words?" Bella knew that in order to take away her shares, Kate must have planned it with Zane for a long time. At this time, A car stopped outside the cafe shop. Two men in suits got out of the car and glanced at the open cafe nearby. Their eyes were fixed on Bella. "Are you Miss Bella Hadid?" The two men walked up to Bella with files in their hands. One of the men had gold-rimmed glasses and looked like a secretary. He took out a check from the folder. "My name is Travis Scott, and I am a secretary. Here is a check for Miss Bella to accept. As for the reason, our master said that we just need to tell you the number of room 8807 in Kingsort Hotel last night, and that will be enough." Room 8807. Bella was shocked. Wasn't that the presidential suite she had come out of this morning? Was it the man who had slept with her last night? Bella looked at the check. Did this mean that he had paid her for the night? She restrained the savage rage in her body and stood up with a sweet smile. "Please wait a moment." Bella was quite familiar with this cafe. She walked to the front desk of the cafe and said, "Please give me an envelope and a pen." "Okay." The receptionist gave her a celebrity-themed envelope. She filled some money into the envelope, tore a leaf of paper from her notebook and wrote, "You've been helpful. Here is a tip." After writing the letter, she walked out with a perfect smile and handed it to Travis with both hands. "I've been waiting for a long time. Please tell your master that I don't need the check. I'll give this to him to make sure that he didn't need to thank me." The secretary and another person gave her a strange look. "If this is Miss Bella's order, I will go back and tell our master. I will also deliver this letter on your behalf." No wonder he was a professional senior secretary. He spoke and acted without any hesitation. After watching the car leave, Bella held her hand and said, "HMPH, everyone has money." After using her, he wouldn't come and see her, and now he had asked someone to send money to Bella. What did he take her for? If he wanted to sleep around, it was she who had slept with him. "Second miss." Alfred looked at the car and felt frightened. "I think that secretary called Travis Scott looks familiar. Did anyone?" "You offend." Bella took out the platinum tie with a lion head and looked at it. It was engraved with the letters weakened. An abbreviation of a name. "What the hell?" Bella sneered. "Nothing, let's go, I'll go home." The Emperor Multinational Group, building, in the Economic Development Zone of City. On the 68th floor, in the office of the CEO. Weekend stood in front of the glass wall with a panoramic view. With one hand in his trouser pocket, he answered the phone. He wore a white shirt and a well-cut gray gentleman's vest, which showed his perfect figure and noble temperament. An elegant young man sitting on the sofa behind him was reading information on Bella Hadid. Bella Hadid, female, 19 years old, the Hadid family's adopted daughter. She is currently in college, and her sexual orientation is normal. A year ago, she had an affair with the Hadid family's third and fourth young masters, but Director Hadid personally clarified this rumor. This Miss Hadid doesn't live with the Hadid family usually. She is a lover of Zayn, the crown prince of the Ali Enterprises. They are regarded as a couple of rich and powerful families that are the most enviable in recent years by the online media. The man continued. Yesterday, she was engaged to the crown prince of the Enterprises in City in a 5-star hotel and cheated on him that night. This morning, Zayn announced that the engagement with her had been cancelled at the press conference. At present, it is the focus of the tabloids. Hey ha ha ha. The man laughed and said, "President, I didn't know that you had a taste for beautiful girls, ha ha ha. This Bella seems to be only 19 years old." Weekend stood in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling wall and continued to make a call. His light brown eyes looked down over the entire city, and his voice was beautiful and clear. "I will consider letting Emperor try not to have conflicts with Ali Enterprises as much as possible, but I won't consider marriage now. You don't have to threaten me with the excuse that you won't take medicine." He hung up the phone of the old master of the Ali family, directly, and walked gracefully to the sofa area. "What's wrong? Ali family say that you're married again." Rajab looked at him. "I'm bored," Weekend said. The assistant brought in a cup of American coffee and left with a bow. Weekend gracefully picked up the glass and took a sip, as if he didn't care about the words of the Ali family at all. Emperor and Ali Enterprises are the biggest brands in the country. Old Master Ali must want to avoid business disputes, Rajab said. And it is said that you are gay. The Ali family must be anxious about your marriage. Maybe they will consider asking you to marry a European aristocratic daughter. After that, Rajab thought of something and touched his chin. But why don't you marry Weekend? Marry you. Weekend raised his cold eyes and glanced at the man. President Ali, it's rare for you to make such a joke. As his friend, Rajab complained, you said that I have blocked you from getting serious with a girl many times. I am not queer. Look at these boring media magazines. He quickly pulled out a magazine with the cover showing two passionate men sitting together. Weekend, the CEO of the Emperor, and Rajab were in the same team again. At that time, I was holding a swimming beauty with my left hand, but these media reporters stopped other people because they wanted to write a joke about the young master. Weekend did not pay attention to this gossip news. He lowered his eyes and continued to drink the fragrant black coffee. If you want to stop the rumors, you can find a woman. I haven't been lacking women yet. You're not short of females, Weekend, and you still slept, Miss Bella. Rajab quickly raised Bella's document in front of Weekend again. For example, now you have slept with the girl and ruined her reputation. As a man, you should shoulder this responsibility and marry her. What's more, she is a famous beauty. It is said that she is more beautiful than Kate Hadid, who is considered the most beautiful woman in city. If you marry her, you will shut the Ali family's mouths and kill two birds with one stone. When it came to Bella Hadid, Weekend was a little starstruck, and the beautiful girl lying in bed in the light of the morning sun came to mind. Her face was as beautiful as an angel's, her skin was as white as jade, and her body was soft and supple. They had been so crazy yesterday that they could have devoured each other. But looking at the information on Bella in front of him, Weekend recalled the sensual images in his mind and frowned. I'm not interested in the little girl. It was an accident last night. How did he know at that time that the girl was only 19 years old? Okay, just pretend that I didn't say anything. Rajab spread his hands and gave up. Outside, someone knocked at the door of the office twice, and Secretary Travis Scott came in. Boss, we found Miss Bella. Weekend looked up and asked, Did you give the money to her? No, and we didn't tell her your identity. Travis stood next to him and reported, and she didn't accept your check. She said that she would like to give it back to you. Would you like to see it? Weekend's brown eyes slightly closed, but when he saw the cash and the words written on the paper, his perfect face hardened slightly. After a long while, he slowly put the things inside back, and there was a dangerous smile on his lips. Bring the woman here, and tell the old man that I'm getting married tomorrow. That little girl, it seemed necessary for him to let her know that Bella made fun of him. In the mansion of the Hadid family. When Bella's father saw her come back, he was furious. I can't have a daughter like you. What kind of man is Master Zane? How did you do this at your wedding? Bella's father pointed at the door with trembling fingers. Get out, you must leave the Hadid family now. Mrs. Hadid clasped her hands to one side. We adopted you. You not only don't know how to be grateful, but you dare to do such a thing that makes us lose face. If it weren't for Master Zane's generosity, we would not have been able to explain this to the Zane family. Bella clenched her fingers and looked at the servant of the Hadid family, who lowered their head. Kate was not there. Dad, I said last night, it was Zane who called me to make me leave the banquet hall. At that time, I drank the wine that Auntie Lily gave me and didn't know what was going on. Bella glanced at Mrs. Hadid. Unlike her father, who had always taken good care of Bella, her mother had never liked her, so they treated each other like guests. She only calls her Auntie Lily. Mrs. Hadid's face changed slightly. Bella, what do you mean? Do you mean I did something bad to you? Bella looked at her and said, I also hope you didn't do such a thing. Mrs. Hadid hated Bella's straightforwardness. She turned back and Mohammed Hadid's arm gently. Honey, she must have misunderstood me. I have always treated her like my own child. There is no need to say anything. You let this marriage be ruined by yourself. You can't blame anyone. Her father came over and said to her angrily, "As for the shares you just mentioned, you transferred them to Kate. She said that you signed it yourself. Since you wanted to give them to Kate, you'd better not regret it." It was Kate who asked me to sign the contract with the company's documents while I was out of sorts. Bella, you can't blame Kate for no reason. She treats you like her younger sister. Mrs. Hadid smiled and said, "She will be sad to hear you say this." "As a sister," Bella sneered. "Auntie Lily, your words are so strange. Do you really think I am your biological daughter and her younger sister?" Mrs. Hadid's face turned green. Her father was annoyed by what happened to Bella Hadid. Now the gossip media are talking about Bella. He turned back and said to Alfred, "Give her some money and don't let her come back again." Bella looked at her adopted father. In fact, he had treated her well since she was a child. "Since you don't believe me, I'll go. Take care." She shook hands with him. Her father was so angry that he turned his back and never looked at her again. After coming out of Hadid family. Outside the gate, Mrs. Hadid looked at the back of Bella coldly and resentfully. "We have raised you for so many years, and you should be satisfied. How can your father let an adopted daughter take away the same amount of money as Kate even if he treats you well? Kate has to take back 10% of the shares." Mohammed Hadid had adopted Bella because he had been a business partner to her biological father. He even gave her 10% of Hadid Limited. It was the wish of Mrs. Hadid and Kate to let Bella leave the Hadid family and give back the shares that Mohammed had given her. Bella smiled slightly. "Aunt Lily, you must have known that Kate was with Zane, right?" Mrs. Hadid paused and said without any shame, "They are a match made in heaven. You are just an adopted daughter of the Hadid family. What hope do you have to be a match for Mr. Ali?" "So, was there something wrong with the glass of wine that you gave me yesterday, Aunt Lily?" Bella followed her aunt, clenching her fists. "You are lucky. Last night there were people waiting for you outside the elevator on the 6th floor of the hotel. You couldn't go to the room where Master Ali had asked you to go, and someone was going to take you to another room," Mrs. Hadid said behind her. "But Kate said you didn't go to the 6th floor last night, did you? But no matter where you went during the wedding last night, it is a fact because Master Ali has confirmed it." Bella gritted her teeth. She was glad that she went to room 8807 on the 8th floor yesterday. She had even been willing to sleep with a stranger. "I'll get it back. I don't care if it's not me, but Auntie Lily." Bella turned back to look at the delicate and elegant Mrs. Hadid with a smile. "You're very ugly today, as ugly as your heart. You better pray that Dad and the others won't see you like this." Mrs. Hadid's face changed immediately. "Bella, you are nothing without the Hadid family. What right do you have to talk to me like this? Remember what you said today. You will regret it." Bella walked to the car next to her. Mrs. Hadid was very angry. When she saw Bella leave, she calmed down a little bit. That night, Bella went back to her room outside and received a phone call from a friend who told her that she was involved in an affair at the wedding. F*CK, judging by the sanctimonious appearance of the one platinum rich second generation in the city, he is such a jerk. After understanding the situation, the friend on the other side of the phone cursed. "Bella, it'll be good to leave Hadid family. Without Zane and Hadid family, how can you survive? You can go to work to support yourself. Tens of thousands of handsome men are waiting for you. Find a man who is 10,000 times better than Zayn. "How can I forget it?" Bella said. "My reputation has been ruined by them now. I will be chased by paparazzi when I go out." "You can't deal with Zane and the Hadid family. If a dog bites you, will you still want to bite back?" "Of course not." The pen that Bella had been using stopped for a moment. "But I will fight back." Bella Hadid didn't forget Mrs. Hadid's words. She was almost raped by others last night. The next day, as soon as Bella left home, she found 2 high-end cars parked outside the apartment. After getting out of the car, the 2 sturdy men fiercely stood in front of Bella. "Miss Bella." As soon as Bella saw this scene, she asked immediately, "What are you doing?" The 2 men took a photo and looked at it. "It's you, Boss Weekend wants to see you. Come on, get in the car with us." "What are you doing? Where are you taking me? You've mistaken me for someone else. Bella was afraid of being kidnapped, but it would be useless to resist. She screamed and was put into the car. Half an hour later, the car stopped outside a de jour luxury club, and the car park was full of all luxury cars such as Bentleys, BMWs, Ferraris, and so on. Bella had heard about this club on TV. It was the money nest of the rich. Just when she was wondering if she had offended a powerful man, she was taken to a luxurious swimming pool by these two bodyguards. The swimming pool in front of her was constructed magnificently. Everywhere she looked, she could see golden mirror tiles on the ground. On the table by the pool were all kinds of red wines of various brands. Several waiters and waitresses stood respectfully by the edge of the pool, holding towels in their hands. The slender bodies of the men in the clear pool were gliding through the surface of the water. Bella suddenly saw the secretary named Travis standing by the pool. She slapped her forehead and had a bad feeling. Seeing Bella, Travis said to the man in the pool, "Boss Weekend, I've brought her here." The man was swimming in the water, sinking and floating, stretching his graceful muscles on his arms and shoulders. He had the nobility of an emperor, a sexy, high-ranking temperament. When he heard Travis's words, the man broke out of the water. His sexy body, which was like a celebrity's sexy figure supported by the railings, went ashore. "Boss Weekend, your towel." "Your water." Blushing shyly, the waitresses affably went forward and handed over their gifts. The slender and sexy body of the man was swaying in front of Bella, and her eyes were bulging. The most important thing was his face. Weekend. It was the president of the Emperor. Weekend. Check. A man in front stood in front of Bella. Bella raised her head. After being checked from head to toe by the detector, she was taken to the man. Weekend was sitting in front of her with a beautiful and sexy figure that could make one's nose bleed. He was wearing only a pair of swimming trunks and a blue velvet towel on his shoulder. His handsome face was wet with water dripping down. Bella Hadid. He flipped through the information in his hand. The beautiful voice was penetrating, which made the woman's ears feel numb. The Miss Bella who has just been pushed out of the Hadid family is optimistic, intelligent, beautiful, and fearless. Are you going to marry me? Huh. Bella had been waiting for her punishment with her head down. When she heard this, she did not respond at all. This is the best job in the world, being the president's wife of the emperor. He put her information down and looked at her little face with his slightly upturned brown eyes. We won't interfere with each other after we get married, but you have to give birth to a child for me, so we will have some alone time every month. You can calculate the time we will spend together. Bella Hadid's eyes widened. She waited for a long time before turning around. This man was the master of the secretary Travis Scott. That was the single man who had had sex with her on the bed that night in the engagement hotel. That man was Weekend. Is he the president of the No. 1 multinational corporation in America? And then she gave him 500 yuan as a tip yesterday. Looking at the handsome man in front of her, Bella began to feel fear because she had heard of his supreme position in the domestic business circle. Now, there were nearly 100 countries in the world that used the intelligent technology products of Emperor. This man could be said to be rich and powerful. In city, even the Ali family had to give him some respect. Bella slowly bowed her head, and her heart began to thump. For what? Didn't the outside media say that Weekend is gay? Why would you marry a woman? No, that's not the point. The point is that the president of the emperor actually wants to marry you. Who is he? Who are you? You are just an adopted daughter driven out of the Hadid family. Why would he marry you? And he wants you to give him a baby. What the hell? You need to calculate the ovulation period. And you are only 19 years old. You must refuse this terrible thing. You couldn't even give birth to a baby at such a young age. Bella screamed in her mind. Weekend did not answer her question about his sexual orientation. You have no room to refuse. You have been kicked out of the house by the Hadid family and lost your reputation and economic resources. You were set up by your ex-boyfriend and sister to cheat before marriage. Your reputation is in tatters. If you can't get rid of this sin, you will be marked for the rest of your life. And I need to get married for shut my family's mouths. As my wife, you will get a salary every month. You won't have to worry about life and survival. I'll arrange for people to solve the trouble Zayn Ali has created for you. It won't do you any harm. Finally, he looked up at Bella with his handsome and perfect face and said in a commanding tone, "If you marry me, I can avenge you." Hearing his words, Bella was a little stunned. Indeed, this man was the perfect match for a nation's unmarried woman. If she had the chance to marry him, it would be lucky for her. But why me, Mr. Weekend? She was not stupid. If you want to marry a woman, the young ladies who want to marry you would line up for it. Why don't you choose a woman with a higher status to marry? Why me? Because you are ordinary. Weekend looked at the girl and replied domineeringly. She felt a few arrows in her chest. She puffed out a mouthful of air. Mr. Weekend is so straightforward. The corner of her mouth twitched. Are you saying that you just want to marry a woman and shut your family up, to cover up your identity as a homosexual? This was what she guessed. That was why the president of the emperor wanted to marry an adopted daughter who had been driven out of the house by Hadid family. If she wanted to take revenge on Zayn and the Hadid family with his strength, her method would be to marry this man and be his wife. She looked up and there was Weekend's handsome face, which made people feel depressed. His facial features were stunning. His eyes were light brown like amber, and the corners of his eyes were slightly upturned. When he looked at people, they seemed to be unable to look away. I won't answer your question. You can think about it yourself. Weekend looked at Bella and seemed to doubt the logic of this girl. You don't have to ask for anything else. Anyway, if you marry me, it will be 10,000 times better than being an adopted daughter of Hadid family. Oh, I just want to be a good wife and have a baby with him in the future, so that he can continue to play with the men outside. Is it enough? Bella Hadid thought of such a matter. An idea popped up in her mind. An idea of such a concept immediately popped up in her mind. I have to think about it again. Bella was a little nervous, but she was also a little moved by the conditions offered by this man. But will we really be husband and wife in name in the future? And is it true that you will take revenge for me? If you marry me, I can get a salary every month. Will you always help me if I need you? You can say that, Weekend said decisively. Looking at the president of the emperor in front of her, Bella was afraid that she would fall into a trap. Then, will you bully me in the future? There was a hint of interest in Weekend's eyes. After asking, she regretted and lowered her head with a red face. I just want to be sure that you will fulfill your promise, and I will not suffer losses. Weekend looked at the little woman indifferently. We will live separately after marriage. As just now, nominal couples, one day every month, you will help me give birth to a child. As for money and your life in the future, you don't have to worry about that. I, Weekend, am not short of money at all. His faint voice revealed the luxury and generosity of the president of the multinational group. But when it came to giving birth to a baby, Bella was very anxious. Mr. Weekend, can I think about it again? Before that, yesterday. She glanced at Travis next to him. Didn't you see what I asked your secretary to give you yesterday? Can you give it back to me first? He hasn't seen, God bless, she thought. You mean this? He picked up the star film envelope with 500 pails. Bella's eyes widened and she was shocked. Did he look at it? Speaking of this, Miss Hadid, can you explain it? You said that I'm good at it. He looked through the envelope between his fingers. Thinking that they had been pestering each other for a night in the hotel, the smile on his lips became deeper and deeper. Are you very satisfied with that night? Shirted with her nakedly. What a slutty man. No, Bella blushed. I mean, Mr. Weekend, you left in the morning with great skills. I have to think about marriage again, then I'll go first. No one knew where Bella got the courage from. With a blushing face, she rushed up to grab the envelope from the man's hand and ran away. Weekend looked in the direction in which Bella disappeared without a trace. This woman was quite bold. President Weekend, Travis asked him. You want someone to follow her. No need. Are you really going to marry this Miss Hadid? She is just an adopted daughter of Hadid family, and she was only 19 years old. That's it. Looked at the information on Bella Hadid next to him and seemed to have changed his mind of not wanting to marry her before. Now she has broken off with Hadid family and has become an orphan. Without relatives and friends, marrying this girl is very convenient for me, and there is no need to disturb the outside world. Otherwise, it would take at least a year to get married to a daughter of a prominent family, who was on the opposite side of her family. Weekend didn't want to get married, and he didn't want to make a big deal out of it. Then, Travis was stunned. President Weekend, you just said that you want her to give birth to a baby. The most important thing is Weekend smiled coldly. Teach her a lesson. Travis Scott understood that because of the 500 RMB tip from Bella Hadid. Weekend had deliberately threatened her about giving birth to a baby. After Bella came out of the Dior Luxury Club, Travis called her to check her information, including phone number. Miss Bella Hadid, President Weekend said that you will only have half a day to think about it. You should answer to him before 4:00 the afternoon. After that, you and President Weekend will hold a wedding immediately. What? Bella shouted. What do you mean that we are going to hold a wedding right away? How could it be so fast? But after sending the message, Travis hung up the phone without saying a word. Bella looked at her mobile phone and widened her bright almond eyes. I have to give him an answer before 3:00 in the afternoon and then hold a wedding immediately. What kind of marriage is this? Isn't it said that weddings of rich and powerful families will take about 7 to 8 months? This was not the usual kind of routine. Bella had no idea, but it was obvious that Mr. Weekend was not giving her much time. She made a phone call to her friend with shaking hands. Hello, Zoya, listen to me. If I tell you that I may get married, would you think it's strange? Do you think I'm crazy? No, I wouldn't. Zoya, her friend on the phone, was very calm. She thought it was a joke. I know that you can't reassure about the relationship between Zayn Ali and Kate, so it's not strange for you to have a crazy imagination. But Bella, don't think about it. Don't do stupid things. Yesterday, you said that you could survive after leaving Hadid family, and you could find a better one without Zayn Ali. I'm not kidding. Bella's lips moved a little. I mean, it's true. I may really get married, but it's a marriage of convenience between the other party and me. Are you out of your mind? Zoya shouted at once. Are you serious? Don't make light of your lifelong happiness. You're only 19 years old. Who are you going to marry without even graduating? My adoptive mother said that I was nothing when I left Hadid family. Bella's bright eyes were full of reluctance. Then I'll show them that I'm not nothing without them. Are you mad? Zoya was extremely anxious. Bella, listen to me. You don't have to sacrifice your happiness even if you want to take revenge on Hadid family and Zayn Ali. Zayn Ali is even less worthy of making you do this. Have you found a rich old man? I'll talk to you later. Bella hung up the phone for the time being. She had wanted to call her friend to find some comfort, but Zoya was even more anxious than her. That's right. Anyone who heard that she had just been engaged in an affair at the wedding and to married now would be anxious. But at least he's not an old guy. Bella recalled the handsome Mr. Weekend. In this fast-paced modern society, money was almost omnipotent, and Emperor had a market value of tens of billions. It was definitely the number one in America. One thing that the man was right that she would marry him. It would not be a bad thing for her. After all, there were so many socialites in the country who wanted to marry him. For her, it was like instantly getting the most powerful backing. It is fine to have such a marriage. In the end, Bella sat down next to a park and sighed. Who cares? I'll marry him and be the wife of the president of the emperor and be pathetic. Besides, I'll get a salary. It's not bad when I think that carefully. With this thought in mind, Bella searched for Zayn Ali's information on Wiki with her mobile phone. Most of the people on the internet said that he was the president of the emperor, the developer of the DS system, and ranked on the Forbes list. As for his emotional life, most of the news was, Rumor has it that his family is urgently urging Weekend to get married. After all, he is the only son of the family. Even his family is anxious about the rumor that he is gay. Recently, the street reporters have taken photos of Rajib going in and out of the emperor. Many people have speculated that this is the reason why there are no women around Weekend. Does he not like women? Otherwise, with his status, it would be impossible for him to stay single for all this time. Looking at the gossip news on the internet, Bella Hadid slowly lowered her head and looked at herself. Was he really gay? Then that night with him. Did he treat her as a man? No, it was impossible. Berla looked at her chest and said, "Although it's not much, I have a B cup at least, and I'm sure that it won't be a problem in the future." Bella quickly reassured herself and continued to click on news of Weekend. When she saw 29 years old written in the basic information, her eyes suddenly widened. What? 29? Isn't he almost 33 years old? I'm only 19. I won't do it. No matter how handsome he was or how rich he was, when she saw that the president of the emperor was much older than her, she began to give up. Bella sent a WeChat to her friend. "Zoya, you're right. I can't get married casually, and the guy can't be old man or an uncle." After that, he turned off the phone and took a taxi back to her apartment. In the apartment area of the Star Garden. As soon as Bella returned to the outside of the apartment area, she saw more than a dozen paparazzi gathering outside the apartment, looking for news on Bella Hadid. "We are reporters from the Celebrity Affair magazine. May I ask if Bella Hadid lives in this apartment?" Some people said that they have seen Bella coming and going from Star Garden. Is she here early in the morning, or has she been driven out by the Hadid family because she had an affair with Mr. Ali? "Excuse me, is Bella Hadid in the apartment now? What's the number of her room?" In the face of the paparazzi's cameras, the other residents of the 3 Stars Garden were leaving with their faces covered by their hands. "Sorry, we don't know the Bella you mentioned. Don't take photos here." Bella was shocked and quickly stood aside to call the office. "What's going on? How do the paparazzi know I'm here?" "Miss Hadid," the man in charge of the business said on the phone, "the fact that you live in Star Garden has been exposed. Just now, the manager said that in order to prevent the Star Garden from being disturbed by the media, you should leave. We will refund your house deposit to you and return the rent for this month." "What?" Bella tucked her hair behind her ear and said anxiously, "I haven't found a place to live yet. Can you give me a few more days?" "Miss Hadid, I'm sorry. Please leave as soon as possible." Property Stuff hung up the phone coldly. Bella looked at the phone. For the first time, she was in a completely miserable situation. If she couldn't go back to the apartment, she would be turned away at the office. A paparazzi in the front came out and lowered his voice to make a phone call. "Miss Kate, is Bella Hadid really living in Star Garden? We had been squatting here and haven't seen her. Is the news you gave about her true?" On the other side of the phone, someone said something, and the paparazzi immediately said, "Okay, then let's continue to stay here." "Don't worry, Miss Hadid. You have given us money, and we will definitely take her down and make her unable to recover." Bella's eyes gradually widened, and she clenched her hands. She didn't know how she left the apartment area of the Star Garden. She only knew that when she left, her mind was full of images of the paparazzi, talking to Kate Hadid and the paparazzi's words. "After receiving your money, I'll take her down and make her unable to get back on her feet." This morning, weekend words echoed in her mind. "You have no room to refuse. You have been kicked out of the house by Hadid family and have lost your reputation and economic resources. You have been set up by your ex-boyfriend and elder sister to be caught cheating before marriage. Your reputation is in tatters. If you can't get rid of this sin, you will be marked for the rest of your life." Bella sat in the taxi and turned on her phone. She looked at the phone number of Travis. After thinking for a long time, she hesitated about whether she should call him or not. Because she knew that only Weekend could help her now. The driver asked her, "Miss, where are you going?" Bella was wearing sunglasses, so people couldn't see her slightly red eyes under the lenses. The driver couldn't see that she was Miss Bella. South of the city, Shallow Bay, Bella said the name of a rich villa area. Shallow Bay in City was a villa district, home to the most rich residents in the country. Before the engagement of Zayn Ali and Bella, Zayn had specially spent 2 years to get people to build a white 3-story temple, which was a combination of Western styles. It was called Angel Palace. As Zayn often said, she was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. She was as beautiful as an angel with a broken wing. When Bella took the pass to enter the villa area and came to the Angel Palace to see the charming man, she knew that the villa had not been built for them, but for him and Kate. Zayn came out of the pure white villa in front of him. He was in a high-end suit, and the driver opened the door for him. Next to him was a wretched-looking middle-aged man. Who was Bella with that night? Zayn stopped in front of the car, and his voice was terrible. Mr. Ali, I really don't know. The middle-aged man nodded and bowed, afraid of offending him. Miss Hadid just asked me to wait for her at the elevator on the 8th floor of the Kingsort Hotel, and then to take her to the elevator. But the night before last, I waited at the elevator for an entire night, but Bella didn't come up. Bella was a well-known beauty in City. Thinking that he did not get to enjoy the beauty, this middle-aged man seemed to have a regretful look on his face. Zayn menacingly squinted his jet-black eyes and said, "It's fine, I haven't touched her," if it weren't for the fact that he loved Kate. Although Zayn knew that Kate and the others had drugged Bella that night, and also involved this middle-aged man who had almost gotten dirty with Bella, Zayn still acquiesced to Kate. When he thought of Kate, who had been waiting for him silently for more than 10 years, he could not blame her face to face. Yes, yes, yes. The middle-aged man kept rubbing his hands and laughing. Mr. Ali, I've told you everything I know. As for who Bella was with that night, I really don't know. May I leave? Get lost. Don't ever appear in front of me again, otherwise Zayn's jet-black eyes sank, emanating a terrifying and devilish aura. Yes, the middle-aged man's face was pale. But when he turned around and saw Bella Hadid standing in front of him, who was so beautiful, he was stunned. Then he bowed his head and left hurriedly. Bella gawked at Zayn Ali after listening to their conversation just now. She couldn't believe that he was the man who had been engaged to her 2 days ago. At that time, the city's notable ladies were jealous and envious of her for being able to win this man, because this charming and handsome crown prince of the Ali family had won the hearts of so many celebrities. Zayn's driver bowed and said, "Mr. Ali, at 7 o'clock in the evening, it will be time for dinner with the mayor. The government's bidding has drawn the attention of many real estate businessmen. It's said that the people from the emperor also have intentions. No matter what, I swear I'll get that piece of land. Tell Kate that I can't eat with her tonight." As soon as Zayn finished speaking, he saw Bella. The hand he had put on the door froze for a moment, and then he donned a knife-like smile. "Bella, how dare you come over?" She looked at the handsome man who had been successful in the business world and who had entered the board of the Ali Enterprises board of directors at such a young age. She smiled. "Zayn, I remember that when I first met you, I was also attracted by your confidence. You are always determined to get what you want, and you are completely different from the second-generation rich who only know how to drink and party. You have ability, career, ambition, social status, and a good temperament, and you came after me. I was very honored. I thought you were sent to me by God, and I really wanted to give you everything." On the night of the engagement, she almost gave herself to him. Bang! Zayn slammed the door with a shake of his hand. The high-end Dior suit outlined his charming male figure. He walked towards Bella with an evil smile on his face. "Did you hear what I said just now?" "Sure." Bella looked at the man with her slightly red eyes, and her lips trembled slightly. "I was an idiot, so I believed that you were engaged to me because you loved me. But now there's nothing different about the result, is there?" He looked at her mockingly and slowly approached her. "I wasn't wrong about you." "The result is different." She glared at him with hatred. "I have been set up. If Kate and Mrs. Hadid hadn't drugged her, She wouldn't have left the wedding ceremony and had sex with someone that night. She wouldn't have ruined her reputation. It's useless to say anything, Zane laughed coldly. I'd like to ask who was the man with you that night. It's the biggest failure of a man, if a man can't take care of his own woman. Thinking of the man's words on the phone, Zane felt as if he had been insulted. He wished he could find out the man who had slept with Bella. Who in city would dare to speak to him in such a manner? Tell me who was that man. He suddenly pinched Bella's chin, and his eyes were filled with anger. You don't have the right to ask about him. Bella looked at the cruelty and anger on Zane's handsome face. With the triumph, she slowly smiled. He is 10,000 times better than you. Whether in appearance, charm, or status, you can't compare to him. We'll marry him and become his woman. Zane looked at the beautiful Bella in front of him with sarcasm. He laughed and said, Are you going to marry him? Bella, how thirsty are you to marry a man at the age of 19? Clap. Bella slapped him in the face. No matter how hungry and thirsty I am, it's not your turn. I was blind to fall in love with you, you be *starred. I believe in your sweet talk. Zayn Ali, such a man with a high status, had never been slapped, let alone be slapped by a woman. Damn it! Zayn returned to his almost twisted face, grabbed Bella, and held her wrist tightly. Bella, you damned woman, how dare you hit me? You are just an adopted daughter of Hadid family. If you leave Hadid family, you don't have any background or chips. Do you know what the consequences of angering me will be? Bella was hurt by his pinch. Zayn, let me go. You don't have the right to touch me again. Not qualified. Zayn raised Bella's beautiful face, stroked her lips affectionately with his fingers, and slowly smiled. When I asked you to come up that night, didn't you prepare to come up and sacrifice yourself happily? You used to say that you wanted to get married and then have sex. It turns out that you have been pretending to be reserved. Don't you think you're cheap? He got close to her ear. Tell me, who's that man that night? I have said that you are not qualified to ask him. She looked at the man who she had loved for 2 years with tears in her almond eyes, shy and hateful. Zayn Ali, you're shameless. Falling in love with you is the most despicable thing I've ever done in my life. As expected, a person would not suffer a loss when he or she did not want to. He or she would never know how despicable he or she was. It was clear that he was with Kate first, but now he came to question her for cheating. Zayn's face suddenly sank. Really? His gloomy eyes darkened. Listen to me carefully. If I hadn't mistaken you for Kate before, I wouldn't have looked at you, a lowly adopted daughter like you. When she heard his words, Bella felt a sharp pain in her heart. Zayn, don't go too far. He smiled sarcastically and looked at her charming face, which was not worse than Angie's. Do you really think that I built this villa for you? Do you know why it's Angel Palace? It's not because I said you looked like an angel, but because I called you Kier and she's my name. Bella's eyes were ruddy and she smiled bitterly. Ha, I should have thought of it earlier. Angel was written in the name of instructor Kate. Hadid family's Miss Kate had an angel-like name. To her surprise, she naively believed that this villa was the one that Zayn had sent people to build for them to marry in the future. It was a villa for her. And Bella looked up at the bewitching Mr. Ali. He had once told her some moving words of love, but now he was planning to set her up at the wedding and humiliate her by cheating on her. Zayn, do you know why I came to see you today? Because you don't want me to dump you. Zayn looked at her beautiful and moist eyes and thought that she slept with another man at their wedding for a whole night. His face became colder. But it's useless for you to come here. I love Kate. You are nothing to me. Well, you be *TCH couple. Now I'm the one who dumped you. Bella picked up the juice that she had bought on the road and poured it on the face of Zayn. She threw off the pass of the shallow bay, turned around and left. Zayn's driver and bodyguard rushed forward. MRMUs, are you okay? Take her to the Public Security Bureau. Bella, you're dead for sure. Behind her came the horrible voice of Zayn. That afternoon, Bella Hadid was picked up by a security guard of the shallow bay. She was sent to the Public Security Bureau on the charges of intentional harm, and told that he would arrange for her to be detained for 15 days. While Bella was sitting in the detention room, a policeman came with her cell phone. "It's your phone number." Thud, he threw it in front of her. The guard suddenly knocked on the iron door twice and said, "Hey, hey, hey, be careful with your attitude. After offending Mr. Ali, it's merciful for you to be detained for only 15 days because it's your first offense." Bella snapped back to reality and picked up her cell phone. She said coldly, "Officer, believe it or not, someone will get me out soon. If my cell phone breaks, I'll ask you to pay for it." The Ali family was rich, and even the government police would let the Ali family do what they wanted. So when Zayn, who sent people to the Public Security Bureau, no one went against them. And Miss Bella was just the ex-girlfriend of Zayn Ali. All the people in the city knew that she was involved in an affair at a wedding and had been kicked out of the house by Hadid family. Humph! The policeman stood outside the iron gate fearlessly with his hands clasped behind his back. He looked at the woman in front of him with disdain. "Looks like you're pretending not to understand the current situation. Make a phone call. I'll be back." When you're done, Bella checked the phone number and saved it. As expected, Travis called. After Bella called back, Travis asked her, "Miss Bella, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Please tell me your answer." Bella knew that at this time, only that man could save her. Weekend was the most powerful man in the domestic business world. She could only marry him. "I'm in the Public Security Bureau. I've thought it through." Bella looked at the police officer in front of her and said, "If Weekend takes me out of the Public Security Bureau, I'll marry him." Bella hung up the phone, curled her lips, and said to the officer in front of her, "I've said it before, someone will save me soon." When the police officer heard Bella's words, his face changed. 15 minutes later, the director of the Public Security Bureau received a call from the president of the Emperor. "Yes, I am the director of the Public Security Bureau in city." "Oh, what's the matter with Mr. Weekend?" "What Mr. Weekend wants to know about Miss Bella's arrest. May I ask who this Miss Bella is?" "Miss Bella is President Weekend bride. President Weekend will see her immediately." On the phone, Travis said directly. Director hung up the phone and immediately rushed to the detention center, shouting at the police officer, "You good-for-nothing. Do you know what kind of person Miss Bella is to President Weekend? Let her go." Bella came out of the front door of the Public Security Bureau. The media reporters had been waiting outside the Public Security Bureau for a long time. They rushed over and surrounded Bella. "Miss Bella, I heard that you were kicked out of Hadid family and went to Shallow Bay to look for Mr. Ali. Is that right? Why did you have an affair at Mr. Ali's wedding? Who is your fiancé? Don't you think it's shameless of you, a rich young lady, to do this?" Facing the sharp questions of these reporters, Bella wore a sweet smile. "I'll address your question here. Yes, I cheated because he is not a good man. I'm not interested in a man who can only hold on for 3 seconds. As for who is shameless, I think Zayn Ali and Kate Hadid know better than anyone else who the shameless ones are." At last, while the reporters were still in a daze, Bella walked to Secretary Travis, who was waiting for them victoriously. Travis was in a car with 2 bodyguards, parked ahead front of her and waiting. When he saw Bella Hadid coming, Travis stood coldly in front of the car and said, "Miss Bella, I'll give you a warning here first. President Weekend doesn't like it when others create trouble for him." Bella smiled. "Didn't he say in the morning that he would help me solve the problem?" Hubert narrowed her eyes slightly and opened the car door for her. President Weekend booked the church as quickly as he could. In the car, Travis said next to her, "Now take Miss Bella to get made up, change into a wedding dress, and go to the church to hold a formal wedding." Bella was stunned and suddenly turned around and shouted, "What, it's so fast? Are we going to marry publicly?" "Miss Bella, you are thinking too much," Travis said. "Of course, you and President Weekend are going to have a hidden marriage. Besides, there's not enough time to hold a public wedding." Bella patted her chest and breathed a sigh of relief. "That's good." Half an hour later, she was taken to a high-class wedding dress store. The makeup artist rolled up her hair and put on the most beautiful white wedding dress she'd seen in her life. Sitting in the dreamy wedding dress store, Bella looked at the beautiful bride in the mirror, who was only 19 years old, and posed before an imaginary circle of friends. "My short youth, I'm going to get married, Tilda." The snow-white church stood on the lawn outside the city. There were a lot of people outside the church, including some outstanding people from some rich and powerful families from city, and some well-known stars. These people were Weekend's friends and had come early to attend his wedding. Bella got out of the car. All these people's eyes were fixed on the bride in the white wedding dress. Rajib, Weekend's best friend, took the lead and smiled. "It's Miss Bella. Weekend's decisions are always beyond everyone's expectations." Bella was so nervous that she could not move. She asked in a low voice, "Didn't you say that it was a hidden marriage? For what reason are there so many people?" "They're some of Weekend's friends," Travis said. "Since it's an official wedding, there has to be some witnesses. The Weekend family's people will come to witness it. Miss Bella, please just relax." It was only then that Bella remembered that Weekend had said that the reason why he was married was because of the Weekend family's nagging. She tried to calm herself down. Under the guidance of Travis, she walked through the crowd of people who were watching the ceremony and strode into the church. Although the church of this wedding was not the largest, it was the most sacred and solemn one, which was imitated St. Paul's Cathedral's European style. 3 low-hanging chandeliers hung in the church, turning the whole church a luxurious golden color. The top of the classical circular roof of the middle hall was painted with the religious murals of angels, clouds, and holy suns. The whole church showed a romantic and sacred color. At the end of the church, the handsome and noble man in a white dress stood in front of the cross with his hands clasped behind his back. The golden sunset came in through the window and shone on him. He was handsome and slender, like a god's mansion. "President Weekend," Travis came up behind him with her. "Miss Bella is here." Weekend did not look back. He said to the 2 lawyers next to him, "Give her the contracts." 2 lawyers in black suits walked up to Bella and took out 2 marriage contracts. "Miss Hadid, these are the agreement and registration documents. Please sign and put your fingerprints on them." After hearing the lawyer's words, Bella came to her senses and realized that she was really going to get married to a man who had been with her for a night and had known her for only 3 days. She glanced at Weekend in front of her, and then turned her eyes to the agreement handed to her by the lawyer. On the paper, Weekend had already signed his name. "Okay." Bella Hadid shook hands, took the contract, and signed her name on the agreement. Weekend said to the lawyer, "Send it to the Civil Affairs Bureau for registration, and send the marriage certificate to the family." "Yes, President Weekend." The 2 lawyers immediately left the church with the agreement. Weekend said to her, "Come up." "Oh." Bella walked up with him obediently. She wanted a 19-year-old girl to face the wedding. She said that she really didn't know what to do. Weekend's body was completely white, and even his leather shoes and tie was the most clean snow-white noble. Only his chest was marked with purple lavender. Like him, Bella was also dressed in a white wedding dress. This was the wedding dress that Weekend had specially ordered, which was the most expensive one available. She also wore lavender on her chest. The flower language of lavender, waiting for love, protect love. Weekend raised his face slightly and looked at the sacred cross in front of him. "Did you go to Shallow Bay to look for Zayn Ali?" Bella straightened her back. "Yes, so what?" "Without my permission, you can't go to him alone." Weekend glanced at her from the corner of his eye. "I'll make this clear to you first. You can't deal with him by yourself. The Hadid family can't even do anything to the Ali family, let alone you." Bella clenched her fists. "The Public Security Bureau said that you deliberately hurt him and poured hot water on him." "I was wrong." Weekend just glanced at her in surprise. "I should have taken the sulfuric acid with me to ruin his face." Bella smiled. "Anyway, he is shameless." Thinking of what Zayn Ali had said to her at Shallow Bay today, she felt both hatred and pain in her heart. Weekend drew back his gaze from her slightly powdered face and said indifferently, "Forget it. I don't need any advice from someone your age. Anyway, you have to report to me what you are going to do in the future." "Why?" Bella was afraid that he would restrict her freedom. "We will get married in a mutually beneficial way, won't we? Why should I listen to you?" "Because I'm going to be your legal husband." Bella's lips moved. Weakened said again, "I repeat, the marriage agreement I told you about this morning." Bella bit her pink and tender lips. "We'll have our own meals after marriage. I can get a salary every month, and you'll help me solve the trouble that Zane and the Hadid family have created for me. You'll help me if I need help. But I must give birth to a child for you after marriage, so we have to share a room every month." "Isn't he gay? Wouldn't it be better to have an artificial pregnancy? Why should we share the same bed?" Bella wondered in her mind. "It's good that you understand," Weekend said solemnly. "Add a rule here. After marriage, you can't reveal our relationship to the outside world and the people around you. It's a hidden marriage. Understand?" She did not care at all and turned back. "Okay, I've got it." She still didn't want to tell me. She didn't want people to know she was getting married at the age of 19 and have the news spread around. "Put down the veil if you understand," Weekend frowned. "It's time for the wedding." Bella froze for a moment and said, "The veil, oh." When she realized what was going on, she immediately lifted her hand to cover her face with the white veil. At dusk, the bell in the church rang through the sky. The priest in the front, who was wearing a priest costume, came to the church altar and began to read. "This is the wedding of Mr. Ammon and Ms. Chloe Bishop. Mr. Ammon and Ms. Chloe Bishop are ready to form a marriage ceremony in front of God. All distinguished guests, please bear witness to this marriage." Rajib and other well-dressed friends at the ceremonial table applauded symbolically. In fact, there were only a dozen guests present, because Ammon held the wedding suddenly, and there were not many friends who had changed into formal clothes. Through the lens, the priest held the thick scripture in his hands and asked, "Chloe Bishop, are you willing to marry Ammon and be engaged to him? Will you have and hold from this day forward, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, for better, for worse, to love, honor, and cherish? Till death do you part?" Chloe clenched her fists tightly. Chloe, 19 years old, had not graduated from university. In her most beautiful and brilliant youth, she walked into the church of the wedding with a man whom she had known only a few days ago without the witness and blessing of her relatives. And she had to make a vow in front of God now. She was willing to let this man become her legal husband, to get engaged to him, and to be loyal to him for the rest of her life. She was going to get married and become someone else's legal wife. What would happen to her in the future? Zayn Ali's face flashed in front of Chloe. When he pursued her, he said, "Men are all unfaithful, but it depends on his woman. Any man can be loyal when he met a woman he really loves. So other women are no longer important to me because I meet you. I only love you." But he lied to her. He didn't love her, but wanted to make Bishop Limited become a company owned by Ali Enterprises. Before she dropped out of school, Rob grabbed her hand desperately and said, "Sister, don't marry Zayn. I love you." Chloe bit her lip and felt a heart-wrenching pain. At that time, she said, "I'm sorry, but I love Zayn." She suddenly hated Zayn for deceiving and exploiting her. If it weren't for him pursuing her, she wouldn't have loved him, and Rob wouldn't have done such a thing to her. Now, her father in the Bishop family, who always doted on her, also broke the relationship with her and drove her out of the Bishop family. She had no way but to get married. She had to rely on this nominal marriage. She raised her face and sobbed. "I do," she answered hesitantly, and her voice was almost inaudible. A big warm hand held her hand. It was like a warm stream of warmth flowing into her heart. Chloe's eyes widened, and she looked at Ammon, who was holding her hand next to her. "Don't be distracted," he said in a low voice that only they could hear. "It's not a bad thing for you to marry me." Chloe calmed down, took a deep breath, and said in a louder voice, "Yes, I do." "Then, Mr. Ammon," the priest continued to ask Ammon in front of the sacrificial hall, "are you willing to marry Miss Chloe Bishop and be engaged to him? Will you have and hold from this day forward, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, For better, for worse, to love, honor, and cherish. Till death do you part. Ammon glanced at Chloe and said straightforwardly, I do. Chloe was surprised by his calmness. He didn't have much of a reaction when he married. He lived up to his name as the first president of America. The priest smiled and closed the scripture. Now, please exchange the rings and kiss with an oath. You are married here. Chloe's body froze. The kiss of oath. Ammon was much calmer. He said to John, bring me the ring. John immediately brought a tray covered with velvet, on which there were 2 rings. Chloe looked at Ammon's incredibly charming face through the veil. He even prepared a ring. Give me your hand, Ammon said. Chloe raised her hand to him. Your right hand. Ammon cast her a mild glare. Chloe looked at her hand, and then let go of her left hand and raised her right hand. There was a burst of laughter from the crowd behind him. Someone said, I bet Mr. Ammon will be distressed with this little wife in the future. Why does he like such a young girl? Did he change his preference? This afternoon, rumor has it that Miss Bishop said Zayn Ali is impotent, haha. Zayn Ali really lost his face this time. Speaking of adultery, could that man be Mr. Ammon? The crowd immediately fell into silence. Rajab's mouth twitched because that person was CEO Ammon. Yesterday, he only proposed to let Ammon marry Miss Bishop. Who knew that Ammon would really marry Miss Bishop today? He did not expect it at all. At the end of the church, Ammon picked up a ring and put it on Chloe's finger. He gently stroked her finger with his thumb. Will you feel wronged if you marry me? Hearing the voices behind her, Chloe blushed and lowered her head. No, I won't. At least your salary must be very high. Ammon's hand ceased moving suddenly. He put her hand down and said, Yes, it's very high. Chloe's hand trembled a little when she put the ring on his finger. His fingers were slender and white, and the joints were clear to see. His nails were trimmed clean and round as if they were a beautiful work of art. Chloe felt like she was holding 2 noble hands. After shaking her hands a few times, she put finally the ring on him. Well, when did Mr. Ammon buy the ring? I only agreed to get married to you 2 hours ago. Ammon took his hand back and said, After you left Dejor this morning, I also booked the church and your wedding dress. Chloe's eyes widened. In the morning. When she came out of Dejor Luxury Club, she didn't promise him to get married. She even ran away when she knew that he was 29 from the internet. Although the man in front of her was so handsome that he didn't look like a 29-year-old man. She could not keep her eyes off from this man, who was clad in a white tuxedo. She remembered his sexy figure and 8 abdominal muscles when he came to the swimming pool. Chloe swallowed her saliva, even though it was spineless. I have said that you don't get to refuse. When she was lost in thoughts, Ammon suddenly took her slender waist and kissed her on her lips through her veil. Chloe was stunned. The ritual is completed. After seeing them finishing the kiss of pledge, the priest said, Congratulations to the new couple. Then the wedding in this church was over. Ammon walked down the steps of the church, surrounded by his friends who all came from rich families. He wore a long white tuxedo that reached his legs. He seemed tall among others. A smile appeared on his usually aloof face. His teeth were white. He was as gentle as a nobleman should be. Chloe looked at this handsome man, with a bit of blankness in her eyes. She should not have said that he was a middle-aged man. Even if he was still the most handsome middle-aged man in the world. Even those young celebrities on TV were far less handsome than him. Hearing the congratulations from these friends of the top wealthy families, Ammon just smiled and said, Since you have come, surely you have brought gifts to us. Hurry up and bring them to us. Rajab and those people were congratulating him for marrying a beautiful little wife. When they heard this, they were stunned. What? No, President Ammon, you suddenly informed us that you were going to hold a wedding. Did you call us over just to take our red packets? Do you think so? Ammon smiled and looked at them. He was not as cold as usual. The expression on his face was gentle and charming. However, the more gentle his attitude was, the more terrified the others would be. This President Ammon is trying to squeeze money from us. He was clearly the one of the few in the whole country who didn't lack money. What did he mean by being tight-lipped? He was the president of the emperor. The others looked at each other. They shook their heads and sighed. Hey, President Ammon is really cunning. When I heard that President Ammon is going to get married, I specially refused the contract worth tens of millions of dollars and changed my clothes. I didn't expect that we're going to make a fortune. President Ammon has always been cunning. We can't defeat him. Thank you for coming. I'll invite everyone to dinner tonight. Ammon gave full play to the evil nature of the first president of America. He turned to smile at John and said, John, let my wife accept the money of these few people and report it to me later. Yes, President Ammon. John immediately reached out to Chloe and said, Everyone, young madam, this way, please. Rajab and others immediately looked in the direction of Chloe. Chloe was standing outside the church in a white wedding dress, looking at the shining ring in her hand. When she saw those people coming towards her, she was so scared that she shrank. What do you want? Rajab first picked up a check with 2 fingers. Miss Chloe Bishop, congratulations. I wish you and President Ammon a happy wedding. The others also filled the checks and handed it to her. None of them dared to miss. Mrs. Ammon, congratulations. Rest assured that President Ammon will not let you down. I wish you and President Ammon a happy new life. May your nights be rich, and your love is endless, Tilda. Chloe was flattered and hugged a pile of checks totaling 1,000,000 RMB. Thinking of what she said in Zayn Ali just 3 seconds ago, she blushed to her ears. Ammon looked at Chloe, the silly girl, smiled and turned back to the housekeeper, who was sent by the Ammon family to supervise the wedding, said coldly, See, I am married. That is my wife. The lawyer will send the marriage certificate to Ammon family after the Civil Affairs Bureau is done, and tell them do not bother me in the future. The housekeeper of the Ammon family bowed. Okay, young master, please take the time to bring young madam back to the Ammon family. Chloe looked at the incredibly large check in a daze. She was at a loss. John came over and said to her, Young madam, President Ammon has invited a friend to attend the wedding tonight. He is asking you to go with him. Chloe looked at the group of people, who seemed to be extraordinary, and shook her head quickly. I'm not going. She didn't know those people. What was she going to do? She wouldn't take part in it. Okay, John said. Mr. Ammon said let us send you back first, but you can't go back to your original residence. Apart from Bishop family, the reporter has already found your apartment outside, the Star Garden. Since you are married now, can you move to Mr. Ammon's residence? Chloe was a little nervous. Go to his place. Yes, replied John. Mr. Ammon has 3 private residences in the country. There's a castle in the southwest region. There's the White Knight Palace in Heavenly City and a private villa in Shallow Bay. Where do you want to live? These were the most luxurious mansions in the country. He even has a castle. Even Chloe, who grew up in Bishop family, was a little surprised to hear that this man owned so many properties. As expected, he was the CEO of a company worth billions of dollars, and his identity and status were based on that. But Chloe didn't know how to get along with Ammon. After a month of being roommate, would it be best to avoid being together at ordinary times? Then, Chloe with a sob, where's the place where he lives the least? John thought for a moment and said, then it may be the Shallow Bay. Is not it the regal district where the Zayn Alice Angel Palace was located? That afternoon, Chloe was sent to Shallow Bay by John and Ammon's bodyguard to his villa, the 9th Dragon Villa. The reason why it was called the 9th Dragon Villa was because Shallow Bay was divided into 9 regions. Each region had a few luxurious residences. If one could buy a villa or a piece of land here, they would already be considered one of the richest people. However, that Zayn Ali was able to build the Angel Palace at that time had caused a stir in city. Ammon 9th Dragon Villa had occupied an area completely. He had purchased the entire 9th district of Shallow Bay. Not bad. Sitting in the living room of the 9th Dragon Villa, which was as luxurious as the palace hall, Chloe stared blankly at the luxurious decoration around her, which seemed to be shining with golden light. "It's not in the same area as Zane. Will we meet again in the future?" "Young madam, what did you say?" the housekeeper asked her. Chloe came to her senses and said, "No, nothing." The middle-aged housekeeper's name was Bucky, and he was the private Bucky of Ammon's residence. After sending Chloe to Shallow Bay, John informed Bucky to come over. After that, Bucky arranged for her to live here. "Okay." Hearing that she was fine, housekeeper Bucky continued to say, "According to the young master's account, I have already asked someone to prepare 2 bedrooms. Young madam's future clothes, shoes, hats, jewelry, and cosmetics will all be custom-made by the brand. There are 2 cards. One is the bank card the young master prepared for young madam, and the other is the universal black card of the young master. The black gold card was recognized as the king of the world's top cards. There was no upper limit to the card amount. But the cardholders were the world's political officials and the rich nobles whose wealth could compete with that of the country." Chloe glared at the rumored black gold card. "Why are there only 2? What do you mean?" Bucky said, "Mr. Ammon said that this card is young madam's salary card. In the future, your monthly salary will be transferred to this card, and the pearl money you received at young madam's and young master's wedding today has been stored in it. Of course, if young madam feels that it's inconvenient, you can exchange it for credit cards." Chloe fell silent. "All the money at the wedding will belong to me. As for this black card, Mr. Ammon's intention is to let young madam keep it. Young madam, if you need it, you can use it any time you want." Chloe couldn't describe her mood at this time. After being driven out by the Bishop family, she thought that she would become an orphan and an office worker. Like Zoya, she worked all day, worked hard to support herself, and paid her college tuition alone. Why did she suddenly get married? So she didn't have to worry about money. Looking at this gorgeous mansion and the 2 cards in front of her, Chloe suddenly had an illusion that Ammon had picked her up when she was in her lowest state. No. When she was in her lowest state, she was taken into the wedding hall and promoted to Mrs. Ammon. Chloe screamed in her heart to correct her own thoughts. "Mr. Ammon also said," Bucky interrupted her thoughts, "because young madam went to meet Zayn Ali without this consent today, in the future you must report to him about what you are going to do. You will be grounded for a week from today and can't go anywhere." "What?" Chloe was shocked. "What do you mean by grounded? I'm not free now that I've married him." "Young madam, you just need to remember this once. You can still live your own life during the week. After all, you and young master had a marriage agreement before the wedding, so you can live your own lives together." Bucky seemed to know the reason behind her marriage with Ammon. Although the young master and young madam are secretly engaged and you can live your own life after marriage, your behavior can't bring trouble to each other. In particular, young master is a big shot in business. Young madam, please remember what you do. Don't bring any negative influence onto him." Chloe snorted. "Does it mean that he can cause me trouble?" "Young madam is homeless now, and your reputation has been damaged. You have lost the residence and status. Your life can't be any worse. No matter what, the young master won't cause you any inconvenience." Chloe's head sank. "That's enough. Why didn't he say it so directly? Besides, young master's life is self-disciplined. He has no affair with women outside. Young madam can rest assured about this." Bucky was very proud. Chloe snorted in her mind. Even if he doesn't have sex with a woman, it doesn't mean that he won't have sex with a man. "Young madam," Bucky saw that she was lost in thought. "Remember." "Oh, go on." Chloe came to her senses and said, "I see, I'm grounded for a week." "I'll ask someone to move your things into the Star Garden tomorrow," Bucky said thoughtfully. "And there's one more thing, I've just notified the doctor." "What?" Chloe was shocked. "Doctor? Why do you call a doctor?" As soon as she finished speaking, the servant came in with a female doctor. "Bucky, young madam, the doctor has arrived." Bucky said to Chloe sternly, "Of course, it is to check on young madam's health. Young madam and young master's marriage agreement has to be made. You must give birth to a child for young master, right?" Chloe's face immediately changed, and she shrank back into the sofa. She almost forgot this terrible thing. Give birth to a baby. I'm still so young. That's the matter between you and the young master, young madam. Bucky made a bow, handed Chloe to the doctor, and left. Chloe watched the housekeeper leave, and then looked at the female doctor who seemed to be a gynecologist. Her whole face turned pale. Come on. Her teeth were chattering. Have a baby. Chloe held her knees and looked at the doctor with fear. I don't want to have a baby. The doctor came over with a smile and said, Hello, Mrs. Ammon. I have 20 years of clinical experience in obstetrics and gynecology, and I am also a fertility expert. I will definitely be able to accurately calculate your ovulation period so that you can have a baby as soon as possible. I should give birth to a baby as soon as possible. Chloe was so shocked that she could not speak. It was so terrible. Did Ammon really want her to give birth to a baby at such a young age? The doctor said, Madam, please go back to your room. I'll check for you. Why should I go back to the room? Chloe trembled all over. I'm not going anywhere. It's okay not to do that. The doctor took out a medical journal, a record of the female biorhythm cycle, and a pen. Then he put on his glasses and said, Then let's cancel other examinations first. With my clinical experience, as long as your period is reported to me, I can still help you deduce it. Looking at the experienced gynecologist, Chloe was extremely scared. The doctor asked, Madam, may I ask when did you have menstruation last time? Chloe was frightened. 5 days ago. Madam, how many days does your menstruation usually take? 7 days. Chloe didn't remember when the doctor left. When she was sitting alone in the big hall, it was already dark outside on Shallow Bay, and she was caught in the fear of giving birth to a baby. Roar tilde tilde. There was a beep coming from her WeChat. Chloe picked up her phone and checked it. It was from Zoya, who had called Alfred of the Bishop family several times this afternoon. She clicked the voice message on her WeChat and put the phone by her ear. Chloe, why didn't you answer the phone? What did the message you sent on the WeChat moments mean? You said you were going to get married in the morning. Do you really want to get married? Chloe called Zoya. I accidentally put the phone on mute this afternoon, so I didn't hear the call. Chloe, where did you go? Did someone take you away? Zoya shouted. I went to Star Garden in the afternoon. My God, those paparazzi are crazy, totally insane. Chloe, don't go back. Otherwise, they won't let you go. I already know it. Chloe remembered the journalist's call to Kate in the afternoon. I went back to Star Garden in the afternoon, and I've seen it. Why did those journalists know where you live? Zoya was a formal business reporter, so she knew about the journalist industry. Who leaked your address? Mrs. Bishop or that bitch Kate Bishop? Nobody would do that except them. Chloe sneered. Damn it, the Bishop family has already driven you out. What else do those people want? They want the entertainment media to destroy my reputation so that I can never turn over. Chloe put her legs away and sat on the wide and comfortable sofa. After all, because of the relationship between Zayn Ali and me, Kate must hate me. My adoptive mother wants to drive me out of the Bishop family for a long time. Do they want you to be homeless and be no way out? Zoya was very anxious. Chloe, come and live with me. Hide for a while and wait for the gossip to come out. Then I'll help you find a way to clear up the truth and expose the shameless, evil behaviors of those people. Chloe played a pillow and looked at the luxurious villa where she lived. There's no need to hide. Even if she didn't hide, she would have to stay at the house for a week. Don't be impulsive. The media is paying attention to you now. A rumor maker said that you complained of Zayn's impotence. Zoya persuaded her. The entertainment media, online platform, and Weibo are all occupied by this topic today. Zayn must want to kill you now, if you go out. Well, Chloe felt a little embarrassed and said, in fact, I did say that. The phone went silent for a few seconds. Zoya immediately lowered her voice. Did you really say that? The corners of Chloe's mouth twitched and she nodded. Well, I was very angry. So that afternoon I went to Shallow Bay and poured hot drinks on his face. Zoya was stunned. On her side of the phone, Zoya slowly raised her thumb. Great, Chloe, give you a thumbs up. You need to pay back in kind. He failed me first. Chloe pursed her lips and said, now it's me who dumped him. It's me who doesn't want Zayn Ali. Compared with framing her for having an affair before marriage, she's saying that he has poor persistence at least 3 seconds. Ha 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 ha. After a moment of shock, Zoya burst out laughing again. No, I'll laugh when I hear you say that. 3 seconds, ah ha ha ha. The comments on the internet are all lit up. Chloe smiled and looked at the ring on her ring finger. After a while, she said, Zoya, I can't live in your house, and I'm married. The laughter suddenly stopped on the phone. Marriage? You're telling the truth. Are you saying that you married him when you sent a message on Moments that afternoon? Chloe, but you don't have to worry, I didn't marry an old guy. Chloe, who are you married to? Have you been conned by someone? Zoya shouted in a hurry. Did you get a certificate to prove the marriage? The Bishop family, do they know? No kidding. Chloe smiled and said, I am not kidding, but I did it voluntarily. And a formal wedding was also held. Chloe, I have an agreement with him that we can't reveal our marriage relationship. By the way, looking at the beautiful diamond ring on her finger, Chloe said with her eyes turning red, let me take a picture of my wedding ring for you. It's very beautiful. After hanging up the phone, Chloe took a picture of a ring and sent it to Zoya. And she showed the photo to her Moments and told others that she had married calmly. In the photo, the shining ring on her white jade hand was particularly beautiful and could tell the value of the diamond at a glance. When the photo was released, her friends and college classmates immediately caused a sensation. They all asked her whether she had a rich boyfriend or was it a picture she found on Baidu. When Zoya sent a message to her again, Bucky came over. Young madam, you'd better use your mobile phone carefully. Don't tell me you've forgotten the marriage agreement between you and Mr. Ammon. Chloe sighed and raised her mobile phone. I didn't say anything. It's just a photo of a hand in the sun. Does it mean that I'm with Ammon? No one could connect her with a man like Ammon. But WeChat will expose your location. Bucky was very clear about the current technology. Chloe was stunned and her smile froze. Well, I'll log out. And she did. That night, in the Angel Palace of Shallow Bay. At night, the white villa was brightly lit, like the Crystal Palace. Under the bright, white lights of the villa, Zayn Ali's face was gloomy and cold. He looked at the back of his hand that had been burned. During the day, Chloe had thrown a hot glass of liquid onto his face. He blocked it with his hand as fast as he could. As a result, his handsome face was saved, but the back of his hand was burned severely. Chloe, that damn woman. Zayn gnashed his teeth with a grim smile and tried his best to suppress his anger. She thinks she is so bold that she dares to talk nonsense in front of the media. Do not let me catch her and see if I kill her. The doctor was changing the gauze for Zayn Ali, and he was afraid that he would annoy the important figure in Ali Enterprises. Mr. Ali, look at your wound. You should apply some more medicine for a few more days. Kate Bishop, sitting next to Zayn, had long hair down to her back. Her face was as white as snow, her lips were red and her teeth were pearly. She was as beautiful as Snow White. Even the current stars in the entertainment circle were not as good as 1/10 of the beauty of Kate Bishop. She turned back to the doctor and said, I know. I'll change the best medicine for Zayn every day. If there are some scars on his hand in the future, you can prepare to lose your job. Yes, Miss Kate. The two doctors nodded, took the medicine chest and left. Kate looked at Zayn's hand lovingly and said, Zayn, don't worry. It will be fine in a few days. Chloe has gone too far. Zayn didn't say anything. His black eyes were gloomy and cold, and there was a rising anger in heart. He was silent, so Kate's voice softened. Zayn, do you blame my mother and me for drugging her? But it was Mother's idea to look for that man who waited at the elevator on the 8th floor of the Diamond Hotel. You know, I really don't want to see you with her again. Kate's eyes were as gentle as water, with a bit of illness in them. Because I am afraid that if you continue to be with her, you will fall in love with her. She is favored by my dad and our family. He even gave Chloe more shares than me. Besides, my dad and my brother both support her. My mom is worried that if things go on like this, it will be. Zane looked back. When he saw the beautiful Kate, his cold eyes gradually softened. I said that on the night of the engagement. I will tell her about the breakup. You shouldn't intervene. I just don't want her to come back and pester you, Kate said. What's more, she cheated on you the same way. She was with another man that night. When it came to this, Zane's face looked even worse. That's right. Chloe was still having an affair at their wedding, which was an indisputable fact. And today she even said in front of the media that you are. Kate held Zane's hands tightly. Chloe Bishop must have seen you cancel the engagement with her unilaterally. She held a grudge in mind and ran to Shallow Bay to hurt you. She also slandered your reputation to others. Zane did not speak but snorted coldly. Chloe, 3 seconds, right? Just wait and see. Sir, an assistant next to him hung up the phone and spoke to him. They have called the media company. They will delete the news about you in the shortest time possible. As for the Public Security Bureau, the city director said that the person who rescued Miss Chloe Bishop was. Seeing the assistant hesitation, Zane's voice turned cold. Who? It was the president of the Emperor. It was the man that America's first transnational group, the business community, and the tech world all know. It was Ammon. Zane's face immediately darkened. Does Chloe know that man? There isn't any evidence to show that Miss Chloe knew Ammon before, the assistant said, but the director did say that Ammon's secretary called him personally. Humph, that is why. How could that Public Security Bureau dare to let the man go that I sent? Zane laughed. His smile was evil and dangerous. So it's that man. In the entire city, and even in the country, the only one who dared to oppose the Ali family was the Emperor. Ammon was the supreme ruler of the Emperor. When Kate Bishop heard that Chloe knew Ammon, her expression changed. Kate never expected Chloe to know Ammon, the president of the Emperor, and that he had also rescued Chloe from the detention center of the Public Security Bureau. Kate blinked her clear eyes and asked, "Where is she now?" The smile on Zayn Ali's face disappeared bit by bit. "Have you found her yet?" "Not yet." The assistant looked at the iPad and said, "There is no news about her movements from this afternoon to now. She did not go back to Bishop family or the Star Garden. The reporter found the Star Garden, and I guess that she will not go back." Zane squinted his eyes. The reporter go to her apartment. "Humph, it seems that the paparazzi's nose is quite sharp now," he sneered. "They even dare to find out private houses." Kate pursed her lips and said, "After all, the paparazzi know the Star's houses can be exposed. They can naturally find Chloe's place. She should be hiding now." The assistant looked at the IPAD and frowned again. However, Chloe's moments updated half an hour ago and sent a photo. Zane immediately took over the iPad and looked at it. Indeed. In the photo, it was an expensive diamond ring with nearly 10 carats. But Zane recognized that it was Chloe's hand. Because her fingers and nails were very beautiful, without any flaws, and holding them can feel soft and boneless. Because he had held the hand of Chloe countless times, her sense of direction was not very good. He took her hand to walk through many high-end shopping malls to stop her getting lost. He is 10,000 times better than you. No matter in appearance, charisma, or status, you can't compare with him in city and even in the country. And I will marry him and become his wife. What Chloe said to him at Shallow Bay today emerged in front of him. Looking at the diamond ring Chloe wore on her ring finger in the photo, Zane didn't speak for a long time. Finally, he gritted his teeth and said word by word, "Find her. Find her all over the country. You have to try your best to find her out for me." "Yes, sir," the assistant nodded. Kate did not know why he was in such a hurry to find Chloe. She was jealous and gently held his hand. "Zane, this must beautify by P.S. She deliberately sent an expensive ring to show off her power. Now that she has been driven out of Bishop family, has no job, how can she buy a ring?" Zane looked Kate for a long time. Finally, he stroked her long hair down her back and said with an evil smile, "Why are you nervous? Even if I find her, it doesn't mean anything. You are my girl." Kate was relieved. She smiled gently and said, "Yes, I know." They were each other's first love. When it came to first love, people always had an irreplaceable feeling. During this period, Zane thought Chloe was that girl, so he was with her. In the end, Kate came back from abroad and told Zane that she was the girl he loved. "Didn't your father agree to let the Bishop Limited fall into the hands of the Ali family?" Zane had absolute confidence and plans. "Then, on the press conference of the Ali family, we can announce our engagement publicly." "Really?" Kate immediately raised her head and looked at him happily. Zayn Ali lifted her chin and abandoned the face of Chloe in his mind and kissed her on her lips gently. "I've said you are my lover." At night, Chloe Bishop sat in the living room in 9th Dragon Villa and dare not sleep until very late. The starlight was shining outside, the night was charming, and it was the wedding night. "Young madam," Bucky persuaded her, "young master probably doesn't remember to come back so soon. You can sleep early." Chloe heard that Ammon would come here today. She didn't dare to sleep. Will he come here? Isn't he rarely here?" "Yes, it's not often. Young master seldom comes to Shallow Bay, but you and young master are newly married. Of course, he would live here with you." This villa was very quiet, and there were very few servants. Bucky said Ammon was not used to living with too many servants. Chloe turned on the 10-inch high Emperor Intelligent TV in the living room and watched it for a while. The holographic projection was in the air, and the gossip entertainment was playing something about Zane. Today, there was a media reporter who interviewed Miss Kate Bishop. Miss Bishop directly responded about the reasons for an affair at the wedding. "It is said that Mr. Ali only lasts 3 seconds. Are you saying that some of Mr. Ali's abilities are not good enough? As the most outstanding and romantic man in city, Mr. Ali has never been in Taubal. The news is really exciting." Chloe could almost see Zayn Ali's bad face when he saw this gossip news. "Ha ha ha, Zayn Ali, this is what I've returned to you." Chloe laughed and turned back to her room, ready to sleep. Today was her wedding night. Well, didn't you say that she went back to her room and slept? Bucky was also very surprised. He looked at the bedroom on the opposite side. Young madam really said that she wanted to go back to her room to sleep, and I also told her that her room was in the west, opposite the main bedroom. Why did young madam go to your room to sleep?" Ammon looked indifferently at Chloe, who had fallen asleep in his room. "Did you call the doctor this afternoon?" "Young master, the doctor did come," Bucky said, "and she gave us the young madam's physiological cycle, but today it's not her ovulation period." Ammon saw Chloe's periodic table. He frowned slightly. "I asked you to call a doctor to have a physical examination for her. Later, let the chef pay attention to arrange her nutrition diet. She is so thin. Do you want others to think that I, Ammon, can't afford to feed a wife?" Even if they were secretly married, his friends still knew that, and knew Chloe was his wife. Bucky was shocked. "Ah, young master, didn't you say that you wanted the doctor to calculate the period? And didn't you say that you had a marriage agreement?" "Okay, I'm going to rest." Ammon handed the report back to the Bucky. "Just let her stay here in the future." "Yes, sir." Bucky nodded with shame. "I'll ask the doctor to come over another day to have a physical examination for young madam. Today is young madam and your wedding night. It doesn't matter if you sleep together." Ammon entered the room. He took off his clothes and went to the bathroom to take a bath. When he came out, he saw Chloe was sleeping soundly. She slept on the quilt. Her sweet little face was very quiet, holding a pink fist in front of her lips, and her thumb pressed against her lips like a baby. Her sleeping appearance always made people guess her beauty and loveliness. But she was a woman after all, and the picture of her naked body wrapped in a bath towel was always full of temptation. Ammon looked at her for a while, and his mind was full of the crazy scenes of the sex at the hotel that night. Thinking about this, he felt a little thirsty. He walked over and shook her shoulder. Chloe. Chloe did not respond. She was having a sweet dream. And her pink lips were moving a little. Ammon put his arm under her neck and was ready to lift her. Your room is on the opposite side. It's impossible to be all right if you sleep on my bed. His warm breath gently brushed over her skin. Chloe shook her head a little, turned over, and lay flat in front of Ammon. The moonlight came in through the French window, casting a silver-arched shadow on the carpet. The room was so quiet that there was only the breath of them. Looking at the white face of Chloe, Ammon suddenly stopped moving. He thought of the day at their wedding. When the priest asked her about it, she hesitated for a long time before answering that, I don't. In fact, at that moment, Ammon really hoped that she really wanted to marry him, not Chloe did not respond. She was having a sweet dream, and her pink lips were moving a little. In fact, at that moment, Ammon really hoped that she really wanted to marry him, not their lovemaking on their wedding night had begun. Chloe only felt that she had a dream. She was pressed back and forth by a big truck. Chloe woke up in the morning, tired and weak. What's wrong with me? A pain in the back, a pain in the waist, a pain in the hips, her whole body. Looking at the luxurious large room in front of her, as well as the bright sunshine shining through the double-story gorgeous curtains, she should have had a good sleep in a big room. Why was her whole body aching all over? And what was wrong with the dream of being pressed by the big truck? Was there a ghost pressing against the bed? With this in mind, Chloe scratched her head and looked at her naked body. Who planted so many strawberries on me? She suddenly shouted, staring at the kiss marks on her body. Maybe I was given something in my dream. Why are you so noisy? Be quiet. A strong arm wrapped around her waist and hugged as if it owned her. Hearing the impatient voice, Chloe snatched the quilt in front of her and started shaking. She turned her head mechanically, and her head felt blurry. Don't tell me it's possible. Ammon was lying beside her with his eyes closed. He had one hand on Chloe's waist. At this time, his face was not as cold as he was in the daytime, and the muscles on his face were not so stiff. His thin lips had a faint color, and his breathing was steady and calm. His uncombed hair fell down along his forehead and rested on the pillow with black dark gold patterns. His handsome face was so good-looking that it couldn't be described with words. Chloe looked at him and kept quiet for 3 seconds. Finally, she swallowed her fear and roared with all her strength. I was asleep. In the room, Chloe rolled out of bed and casually picked up the towel and wrapped it on her body. She looked at Ammon with a changed expression. What are you doing in my room? Why do you follow me to sleep and do this to me? We have a marriage agreement. Ammon hated being disturbed when he slept. He had a serious issue of being woken up. He suddenly opened his brown eyes and said coldly, Chloe, look carefully. This is my room. Didn't you want to sleep with me when you came to my room? Chloe looked around and shouted again. Then she ran to the door with her clothes in her arms. Bucky, who was outside, heard the sound and came up to knock on the door. Young master, young madam, are you up? All of a sudden, the door opened from inside. Where is my room? Chloe asked the housekeeper, with her blood-red eyes wide open and wrapped in a bath towel, holding her clothes. Bucky immediately lowered his head and did not look directly at her. Young madam, your room is the one across from us. Chloe rushed into the opposite room with a gust of wind. Ammon was sitting on the bed with his eyebrows wrinkled. His face was obviously angry. This man, who was usually gentle, indifferent, and calm, was not. Bucky carefully asked at the door, Young master, may I ask, do you want to get up? Why don't you get up? Ammon sat on the bed, pinching his heroic eyebrows. Do you think I can still sleep after being yelled at by her? Ammon was a very self-disciplined and strict master, and he was gentle to the servants in his residence. But there was one thing that even Bucky did not dare to offend, that was, no one dared to disturb his sleeping time. He was very angry with the president of the emperor, who was extremely cold in behavior. Young master, young madam has just arrived. Please tolerate her a little more. Bucky tried to persuade him, not to provoke him again. Then I'll send someone to prepare breakfast. Go, Ammon frowned again. Finally, she came out of the bathroom and looked at this luxurious, but not large bedroom in front of her. She threw a towel that was used to wipe her hair on the bed. I knew it. The side bedroom is so luxurious. It turned out to be his room. As she regretted, Chloe Bishop pulled open the closet. In the big cabinet of the cloakroom, there were only a few night dresses and high-end pajamas of real silk. All were elegant and beautiful. Chloe thought about it. She had already slept with Ammon, so she didn't need to worry about these things. When he was about to leave, he felt in the luxurious and golden luxury hall. Ammon had already had breakfast and was sitting in the large leather sofa area, reading the domestic commercial reports. He was wearing a white shirt, a completely custom-made Armani black vest and long trousers, and his tie was also black. He was very handsome. The luxuriousness of a high-ranking person was not missing in the words of the ancient American. It was as if he was a man that people looked up to. I'm coming down, Ammon said flatly without raising his head. Chloe clenched her fists, strode over, and sat down on the sofa opposite Ammon with a fragrant breeze. Mr. Ammon, she tried to maintain her politeness. You were too aggressive last night, weren't you? If it weren't for the fact that he had servants under the roof, he would not have to be humble. This was also his villa. He was so tall and she was so petite, she couldn't beat him. Otherwise, she really wanted to fight with him. What the F***CK? Ammon gave her a faint look. It's you who came to me by yourself. The fire is strong, endure it. Chloe gritted her teeth. Then how can I be your legal wife? Then can I have some requirements for our relationship in the future? You can try to tell me, Ammon said faintly, but I don't know if I will agree. For the sake of the satisfaction that this little wife gave him yesterday, he didn't care about her waking him up in the morning. Chloe glared at the housekeeper next to her. When you point out your destination to me in the future, please tell me in front, back, and rear. There are no north, east, south, or west in my world. Ammon slowly looked up at her and said, I remember that in your information, you are at least 19 years old. You are attending a famous university, and you don't even have the ability to distinguish directions. How old I was, does this have anything to do with my school? Chloe said angrily. I am born to have a bad direction. How can you blame me? Don't go too far. Give her a compass, Ammon said. Yes, young master, Bucky nodded. Chloe knew that she had been insulted. No. I only do this in strange places. You don't need to bother. In that case, you should recognize your own room in the future. Ammon looked at Chloe in front of him and fought with a kind of elegant light brown color in his eyes. It's your own fault that you got into someone else's bed by mistake. Chloe clenched her fists, and her eyes were about to spurt fire. There's one more thing. I believe Bucky told you yesterday that you'll be grounded for a week because you went to Zayn Ali on your own. He said, I'll teach you a lesson. We have a pre-wedding agreement that will solve the problem for you, but the premise is that you won't take the initiative to get into trouble. You don't have to worry about your life here, but try not to go out and cause trouble. There are some things that I'll handle for you. Only Bucky knew that his young master's words were all for the good of Chloe, because now the media outside and Zayn was looking for her everywhere. Finished, Chloe looked at Ammon. Ammon made a gesture of invitation. You can say it now. My second request. Chloe pulled at the pink women's nightdress with the wide straps. I'm not used to wearing such a coquettish nightdress. Please change into clothes and pants. It's a home style. I prefer pink and lavender colors. Pure colors or patterns are. Bucky narrowed his eyes. This was the latest series of Victoria's Secret. Because time was short, he had all asked people to buy expensive pajamas last night. He didn't expect Chloe would call it sexy and cheap. Ammon said to the Bucky, change it for her. Yes, young master. Do you still have any problems? Ammon looked at Chloe and said, if you don't, you can stay here this week. Bucky said, young master, the car to the company is ready. Ammon put down the newspaper and got up. Chloe remembered their two pestering. She held her knees and hesitated for a while. Then she said, "Well." Ammon stopped behind her. "What?" Chloe glared at him. "Didn't the outside world say that you like men? Then why did you do such a thing to me?" Ammon knew the rumors about him from the outside world, but he did not intend to clarify them, because this would reduce the number of women who would pander to him. When he heard Chloe's words, his thin and beautiful lips were slightly raised. "How can you not eat the delicious food that was sent to your mouth? It's not a good thing for me to marry you. You have to do your duty to be a wife." Chloe's heart immediately turned cold. She began to fear again. He must have said that she would have a baby for him. What a shame. "Yes, but this matter. Take it easy." She glanced aside and the corners of her mouth twitched. "Mr. Ammon is very handsome. He is in the prime of his life. Why should he worry about having no children? Why should he be in a hurry, right?" Ammon just smiled and did not answer her question. He said to the Bucky, "Give her my phone number and report to me before she does something in the future." "Yes, young master." Finally, Ammon glanced at Chloe. He looked at the light red butterfly birthmark behind her shoulder and turned away from the villa. Chloe nestled on the sofa and began to feel cold again. Didn't she fall into the wolf's den when she married this man? The golden Rolls-Royce Phantom stopped outside the 9th Dragon Villa. 2 bodyguards stood in front of the car. "Morning, young master." Ammon stood in front of the car door and said to Bucky behind him, "Watch her. Although I don't know why she wants to live shallow bay, since she married me, I will not allow her to have any contact with Zayn Ali." Bucky was a little surprised. Is young master worried that the young madam asked to live here in shallow bay because of Zayn? Ammon's eyes were slightly cold. There is a suspicion. Before he married this little girl, he had asked people to look into her personal information about Bishop family and her past with Zayn. Bucky said, "Perhaps young madam is still not used to getting along with young master, so she chose a quiet place. Young master, don't worry too much." Ammon did not speak. His elegant brown eyes reflected the beautiful sea view of the shallow water in the distance. He smiled gently and said, "It's better to do so." Otherwise, when he was about to leave, he felt. Chloe sat in the villa hall and felt ashamed, thinking of what Ammon had said just now. She asked the netizens on Weibo, "I want to ask everyone a question. If a gay has sex with a woman, what does that mean?" In the magnificent hall, Ammon looked at the night view of the shallow water outside the window of the 9th Dragon Villa. He took his time and made a phone call to John. "John, take the government's bid for the piece of land." After Ammon hung up the phone, the housekeeper looked at him and said, "Master, but didn't you promise old Master Ammon that you wouldn't let a conflict arise between the Emperor Group and the Ali Enterprises as much as possible?" "Who said that I deliberately cause a conflict between Emperor Group and Ali Enterprises? I won't let Ali Enterprises do it. That is what I promised her before." Ammon smiled faintly. His deep brown eyes reflected the wine in his cup, and there was a noble and beautiful cold color. He wanted to avenge her. This was what he had promised this woman. Bucky understood and nodded his head. "That's okay. It's not right to speak up for young madam first. After all, young madam has no one to rely on except young master now." But for Ammon, suppressing any company in the country would be a piece of cake. He never mentioned whether it was for venting his anger for Chloe or not. It was just that he had promised that woman that he would help her solve the trouble Zayn Ali had caused her. Of course, he wouldn't let Zayn off the hook. And this was the land Zayn wanted the most. That night, Chloe went to knock on the door of Ammon's bedroom in the middle of the night. In the silence of midnight, someone knocked on the door 5 times, and the man inside opened the door with an iceberg-like expression. "Chloe, I'm warning you here." He looked terrible, completely different from his usual self. "Not a lot of people dare disturb my sleep. There are even fewer people like you who don't care about their own lives." Chloe was shocked by him. "Wait a minute, I have something to tell you." "Speak." Ammon stared at her coldly. With a bath towel around his waist, he stood in front of Chloe in the sexiest way. Looking at his naked upper body wrapped in a bath towel, Chloe quickly lowered her head with a blush. Well, I just wanted to tell you that I heard about your sexual orientation issue, but our marriage is not real, it's superficial, so you can continue to look for men. Her voice became lower and lower, and it took her a lot of courage to finish this sentence. There was probably no one else in the world would let their husband go and find a man. But she didn't want him to sleep with her in the middle of the night out of hunger and thirst. If so, she would suffer a great loss. Ammon couldn't believe it when he heard Chloe's words. He narrowed his eyes slightly and said, "Look for a man? Why would I look for a man? What are you talking about?" Chloe suddenly raised her little face again. "Aren't you? I slept with you twice and held a wedding." Ammon looked at her coldly from above. "My sexual orientation should be clear to you." Boom, 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 boom. The door of the room was slammed shut in front of Chloe. What a big temper. Chloe was surprised. So, Ammon is not gay. Was it just a rumor by outsiders? In the next few days, Ammon went out early and returned late to the 9th Dragon Villa. According to their agreement, he didn't go to her room to disturb her. A week later, the most sensational news in the domestic business circle was broadcasted on TV. Emperor Group won city government's bid for land, which caught the Ali Enterprises by surprise. As both companies are national brands, Ali Enterprises has always been strict with Emperor Group in staying out of trouble, and seldom has any commercial conflict between each other. I wasn't expecting that the Emperor Group would suddenly take away the piece of land that Ali Enterprises had been eyeing on for half a year. The host on TV continued. This is the camera showing the end of the auction. Mr. Ali didn't look very well and didn't want to be interviewed by reporters. As the first multinational company in America, Emperor Group leads the production of phones, computers, TVs, as well as high-end buildings. There are more than 100 countries that use the Emperor's smart products. In addition to innovation in science and technology, the Emperor Group is also involved in high-end hotels, chain-end hotels, chain-end shopping, and insurance. Are they going to compete against Ali Enterprises for the title of the first real estate predator in the country? Emperor Group and Ali Enterprises. Chloe Bishop's interest was immediately aroused as she continued to read. The reporters on TV swarmed the president of the Emperor Group, Ammon, who had won this piece of land. "President Ammon, may I ask why you placed a high bid for this piece of land at the price of 1 billion yuan? You personally came to the government's bidding fair. Is it a sign of Emperor's intention to enter the real estate industry? Will you become an opponent of Ali Enterprises?" A tall figure in a white shirt and a noble black suit turned around and walked into the elevator in front of the camera. It was as cold as a god in the lonely supernatural being. John and 2 bodyguards turned back to stop the reporters behind him. Emperor Group bought this piece of land to develop a project with environmental protection as the main goal, so its value can't be measured by money. After saying that, John's heart started to break out in cold sweat. The young madam was silenced by the man from Zayn Ali. President Ammon would buy that piece of land for 10 billion yuan. On the other side of the camera, the reporters chased after Zayn. In the picture, under the protection of security guards, Zayn walked out of the building with a dark face and got on the car. "Mr. Ali, Ali Enterprises have missed out on the piece of land that you have been eyeing for half a year. What do you think?" "Mr. Ali, can you please say a few words?" Zayn's assistant also turned back to stop the reporters. "Everyone, please wait a minute. Mr. Ali cannot be interviewed right now." In the parking lot of the government's bidding venue, a golden Rolls-Royce luxury car was waiting for Ammon. After Ammon got in the car, the Rolls-Royce immediately left under the protection of security guards in the venue. The reporters outside kept taking pictures of the luxury car. Inside the car, John asked Ammon, "President Ammon, I know that you acquired this piece of land for the young madam, but what are you going to do with it now?" But for Ammon, spending 1 billion yuan was not a big deal. He said, "The price of housing is getting higher and higher, and it's not bad to add more value to it. It's not a bad deal if you don't pay for it." He had unique insights and courage. This was the president of the first multinational company in America, and he had the wisest business sense. John was a little dumbfounded, but he couldn't help but laugh it off. The Ali enterprise will definitely die of anger. They have a food and entertainment company in the west of city. Buying this piece of land definitely means that they were going to build another skyscraper in the east to create twin buildings. It would become the largest trading point of the Ali enterprise. If the Emperor Group bought it, the value would increase. This was a way to kill a man without paying with his life. Ammon's thin lips lifted gently. The biggest selling point in America in front of me is to offend me, even if the Ali Enterprises Emperor Group in America will give them a lesson. The first conglomerate in America, the Emperor Group. With the company's market value, the company's stock price, and Treasury Finance Emperor Group had won against the Ali Enterprises. The most important thing is that this is what I had promised Chloe. It is a given that Zane would be facing a little obstacle. Ammon looked out of the car window with a slight smile on his lips, despising everything. He remembered the reason why Chloe refused to tell him to quit school that night, and his eyes darkened slightly. Yes, President Ammon. John understood what he was doing. In the magnificent hall, Ammon looked at the night view of the shallow water outside the window of the 9th Dragon Villa. He took his time and made a phone call to John. John, take the government's bid for the piece of land. After Ammon hung up the phone, the housekeeper looked at him and said, Master, but didn't you promise old Master Ammon that you wouldn't let a conflict arise between the Emperor Group and the Ali Enterprises as much as possible? Who said that I deliberately cause a conflict between Emperor Group and Ali Enterprises? I won't let Ali Enterprises do it. That is what I promised her before. Ammon smiled faintly. His deep brown eyes reflected the wine in his cup, and there was a noble and beautiful cold color. He wanted to avenge her. This was what he had promised this woman. Bucky understood and nodded his head. That's okay. It's not right to speak up for young Madam first. After all, young Madam has no one to rely on except young Master now. But for Ammon, suppressing any company in the country would be a piece of cake. He never mentioned whether it was for venting his anger for Chloe or not. It was just that he had promised that woman that he would help her solve the trouble Zane Ali had caused her. Of course, he wouldn't let Zane off the hook. And this was the land Zane wanted the most. That night, Chloe went to knock on the door of Ammon's bedroom in the middle of the night. In the silence of midnight, someone knocked on the door 5 times, and the man inside opened the door with an iceberg-like expression. Chloe, I'm warning you here. He looked terrible, completely different from his usual self. Not a lot of people dare disturb my sleep. There are even fewer people like you who don't care about their own lives. Chloe was shocked by him. Wait a minute, I have something to tell you. Speak. Ammon stared at her coldly. With a bath towel around his waist, he stood in front of Chloe in the sexiest way. Looking at his naked upper body wrapped in a bath towel, Chloe quickly lowered her head with a blush. Well, I just wanted to tell you that I heard about your sexual orientation issue, but our marriage is not real, it's superficial, so you can continue to look for men. Her voice became lower and lower, and it took her a lot of courage to finish this sentence. There was probably no one else in the world would let their husband go and find a man. But she didn't want him to sleep with her in the middle of the night out of hunger and thirst. If so, she would suffer a great loss. Ammon couldn't believe it when he heard Chloe's words. He narrowed his eyes slightly and said, Look for a man? Why would I look for a man? What are you talking about? Chloe suddenly raised her little face again. Aren't you? I slept with you twice and held a wedding. Ammon looked at her coldly from above. My sexual orientation should be clear to you. Boom, 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 boom. The door of the room was slammed shut in front of Chloe. What a big temper. Chloe was surprised. So, Ammon is not gay. Was it just a rumor by outsiders? In the next few days, Ammon went out early and returned late to the 9th Dragon Villa. According to their agreement, he didn't go to her room to disturb her. A week later, The most sensational news in the domestic business circle was broadcasted on TV. Emperor Group won city government's bid for land, which caught the Ali Enterprises by surprise. As both companies are national brands, Ali Enterprises has always been strict with Emperor Group in staying out of trouble, and seldom has any commercial conflict between each other. I wasn't expecting that the Emperor Group would suddenly take away the piece of land that Ali Enterprises had been eyeing on for half a year. The host on TV continued, "This is the camera showing the end of the auction. Mr. Ali didn't look very well and didn't want to be interviewed by reporters." As the first multinational company in America, Emperor Group leads the production of phones, computers, TVs, as well as high-end buildings. There are more than 100 countries that use the Emperor's smart products. In addition to innovation in science and technology, the Emperor Group is also involved in high-end hotels, chain-end hotels, chain-end shopping, and insurance. Are they going to compete against Ali Enterprises for the title of the first real estate predator in the country? Emperor Group and Ali Enterprises. Chloe Bishop's interest was immediately aroused as she continued to read. The reporters on TV swarmed the president of the Emperor Group, Ammon, who had won this piece of land. "President Ammon, may I ask why you placed a high bid for this piece of land at the price of 1 billion yuan? You personally came to the government's bidding fair. Is it a sign of Emperor's intention to enter the real estate industry? Will you become an opponent of Ali Enterprises?" A tall figure in a white shirt and a noble black suit turned around and walked into the elevator in front of the camera. It was as cold as a god in the lonely supernatural being. John and 2 bodyguards turned back to stop the reporters behind him. Emperor Group bought this piece of land to develop a project with environmental protection as the main goal, so its value can't be measured by money. After saying that, John's heart started to break out in cold sweat. The young madam was silenced by the man from Zayn Ali. President Ammon would buy that piece of land for 10 billion yuan. On the other side of the camera, the reporters chased after Zayn. In the picture, under the protection of security guards, Zayn walked out of the building with a dark face and got on the car. "Mr. Ali, Ali Enterprises have missed out on the piece of land that you have been eyeing for half a year. What do you think?" "Mr. Ali, can you please say a few words?" Zayn's assistant also turned back to stop the reporters. "Everyone, please wait a minute. Mr. Ali cannot be interviewed right now." In the parking lot of the government's bidding venue, a golden Rolls-Royce luxury car was waiting for Ammon. After Ammon got in the car, the Rolls-Royce immediately left under the protection of security guards in the venue. The reporters outside kept taking pictures of the luxury car. Inside the car, John asked Ammon, "President Ammon, I know that you acquired this piece of land for the young madam, but what are you going to do with it now?" But for Ammon, spending 1 billion yuan was not a big deal. He said, "The price of housing is getting higher and higher, and it's not bad to add more value to it. It's not a bad deal if you don't pay for it." He had unique insights and courage. This was the president of the first multinational company in America, and he had the wisest business sense. John was a little dumbfounded, but he couldn't help but laugh it off. The Ali Enterprise will definitely die of anger. They have a food and entertainment company in the west of city. Buying this piece of land definitely means that they were going to build another skyscraper in the east to create twin buildings. It would become the largest trading point of the Ali Enterprise. If the Emperor Group bought it, the value would increase. This was a way to kill a man without paying with his life. Ammon's thin lips lifted gently. "The biggest selling point in America in front of me is to offend me, even if the Ali Enterprises Emperor Group in America will give them a lesson." The first conglomerate in America, the Emperor Group. With the company's market value, the company's stock price, and Treasury Finance, Emperor Group had won against the Ali Enterprises. "The most important thing is that this is what I had promised Chloe. It is a given that Zayn would be facing a little obstacle." Ammon looked out of the car window with a slight smile on his lips, despising everything. He remembered the reason why Chloe refused to tell him to quit school that night, and his eyes darkened slightly. "Yes, President Ammon." John understood what he was doing. Ammon furrowed his eyebrows slightly. Just when he thought that Chloe Bishop was about to be grounded for a week, the Ammon family called. "What's the matter, Grandpa?" Ammon picked up the phone calmly. "If I remember correctly, I have already asked the lawyer to send my marriage certificate back to Bishop family." "Yes, I did. But didn't you promise me that you wouldn't let any conflict of interest between Emperor Group and Ali Enterprises?" On the other side of the phone, the old man of the Ammon family asked. "But today's news seems to be different, isn't it?" Ammon folded his long legs. "I told you that I would try my best." It was inevitable, so there was no need to avoid it. "You are really persistent." The old master on the phone laughed and said, "Now Emperor Goop is in your hands. No one can stop you." Ammon was shocked. "Yes." You old master almost became angry, but he held back his anger and said, "Okay, I don't need to ask about it. You can bring my granddaughter-in-law back first." "I'm sorry, I'm not free to do that." Ammon immediately hung up the phone. He married Chloe in order to block the family off. What was the point of bringing her back to the family? Shallow Bay, the most expensive area in city. Chloe downloaded a mobile application to show her phone number on the internet, then happily called Zayn Ali. "Zayn, today's news was sensational. It's so powerful." She sat in the luxury villa and laughed. "Did you see your face? It's as black as the bottom of the pot. Ha ha ha." Chloe, Zayn, who was on the other side of the phone, was gloomy and horrible. He gnashed his teeth and said to the woman who had disappeared for a week, "How dare you call me? Tell me, where are you?" "Where I am has nothing to do with you." Chloe looked at the shining diamond ring on her jade-like hand and felt extremely happy. "But I want to congratulate you that the land where Ali Enterprises had favored for half a year has been robbed by someone else. Is it more upsetting than hearing the reporters say that you only have 3 seconds of gossip? Ha ha ha." On the other side of the phone, Zayn broke the goblet in his hand with a crack. "Chloe Bishop, listen to me. I'm in a bad mood today. If you talk more nonsense, I'll strangle you to death next time I see you." "Oh, you're in a bad mood, aren't you?" Chloe patted her chest. "Then I'm relieved." "Chloe Bishop, what the hell do you mean?" "If you're in a bad mood, I'll be happy." "Chloe Bishop." Chloe smiled sweetly. "The best part is yet to come." After she laughed and hung up the phone, she went to the kitchen to prepare dinner in a good mood and waited for Ammon to come back. In the evening, 2 beautiful maids in black coats and white apron stood outside the 9th Dragon Villa. Bucky stood outside and waited for Ammon to come back. The golden Rolls-Royce stopped outside. "Welcome back, young master." Bucky went up to open the rear door. "Congratulations on winning the Land of Cities city bidding. This is once again the victory of the Emperor Group." Ammon got out of the car. With a luxurious temperament, he was gentle and elegant like a modern noble, and walked into the villa with a maid respectfully welcoming him. His brown eyes swept over the window of Chloe's room on the 2nd floor of the villa, and he didn't turn on the light. "She's asleep?" Ammon asked. "Not yet," Bucky said. "She found out that you successfully won the bid for that piece of land today. Young Madam cooked dinner for you in person. Young Master, I've told you that young Madam didn't come to Shallow Bay for that reason. Young Madam must have missed you." In the golden hall, illuminated by bright light, wearing a sweet formal Versace skirt, Chloe Bishop sat on the sofa. She was waiting for Ammon to come back. On the table in front of the sofa were a few dishes that she had cooked. As soon Ammon and Bucky came in, Chloe immediately stood up. "You're back. I made a meal for you. I know that all you did was buy the land that Zayn Ali wanted, but it made me really happy to hear his angry voice. I wanted to say thank you by making this dinner for you." Ammon frowned and looked at the plates of black substance in front of Chloe. Next to Ammon, Bucky explained embarrassedly, "Young master, before you came back, young madam," called Zayn. Ammon's face immediately cooled down, and his cold voice was commanding, fitting of a leader. "You contacted Zayn again. Are you testing my patience, or have you forgotten my warning?" Chloe blinked her eyes and looked at Ammon's back. Then she looked at the dinner that she had worked so hard to make. She forgot that they were a superficial married couple. He did not care about her. "Humph, if you won't eat, then I'll eat." Chloe picked up her chopsticks. As soon as Ammon went upstairs, he stopped and said to Bucky with a smile, "Can the dishes she cooked to be considered food? Do you want to see her poison me to death?" Bucky lowered his head in embarrassment. "Young master, young madam's cooking skills are indeed bad, but I saw her cooking diligently for 2 hours, maybe." "Oh." Ammon's eyes sank. "Maybe it's just not good looking, but it tastes good. Why don't you try it first?" Bucky, who had planned to strengthen the couple's relationship, agreed with Chloe's decision to make dinner for Ammon. As long as young madam didn't poison it, it didn't matter at all if it tasted bad. "I'm afraid I'll lose my taste if I eat that kind of food," Ammon said coldly. "I'll ask the kitchen to prepare some dinner later." Bucky had to nod. "Yes, master." As soon as he finished speaking, I want water." Chloe's cry came from downstairs. Ammon glanced behind him. "Don't let her near the kitchen in the future. No one needs her to cook." "Yes, young master." Bucky had no choice but to bow down. In the hall, Chloe was tasting her own cooking. Suddenly, her eyes were bloodshot and she pinched her throat. It was the most terrible dinner she had ever tasted. How could she make such a terrible meal? It was not edible at all. The 2 maids next to her poured a glass of water and said, "Young madam, you'd better stop."